Hey everybody, DJ Kosher here. In honor of us annexing Gaza, I got a banger for you guys. Coming to you live from Tel Aviv, aka Let's Go.
It's not my fault that I have to do this. You only pick on me because I'm Jewish. Stop being a jealous loser and go get a job. I can do what I want because I'm chosen by God.
All right, niggas, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the street, baby. We live. Welcome to the stream, guys. Oh, man. That was a banger by my guy, Lucas Gage. Someone Else Will, which is a very fitting song because they literally announced that they're going to annex Gaza, guys. Pretty much they have a plan in place where they are going to annex Gaza, and they're going to do what I've been telling you guys now for over a year. They're going to just kick them out, move them to another Arab country. So it's pretty much official. It's in the works now. This news came out like pretty much yesterday. But that's where we are, man. Crazy, crazy world. Obviously, we make some jokes on it and shit like that. But, obviously this is a very serious topic. Bring more awareness to it. But yeah, dude, they are going to annex Gaza. And they're going to conduct the ethnic cleansing that we all predicted. So what can you say? And sorry for the delay, guys. I literally just got done working out. So I just worked out real quick. Had to get a lift in. I did a quick little circuit, calisthenics only. Took me like 20 minutes to complete. Basically what I do is I do pull-ups, push-ups, and then air squats, back to back to back, take 1 minute rest. So I do somewhere between 10 to 20 pull-ups. Then I'll do 20 to 40 push-ups. Then I'll do like 20 to 30 air squats. And then I take back to back to back, no rest. Then I take a 1 minute rest, 60 seconds. Then I go back at it again. I do like between 5 to 10 rounds of that. So yeah, sorry for the thing, but I knew I was going to be pissed off at myself because I looked at it like this. I can either start the stream a little bit later, right, and work out after, or I just work out now, start the stream a little bit later. Does that make sense? Sorry. I either start the stream a little bit later, work out now, get it out the way so I can stay on with you guys longer, or the other option would be I end the stream early to go work out before we do after hours. So I was like, you know what, man? Let me just be able to run the train the whole way through. And when it's time to do after hours, we just go right to after hours. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what it was. So thank you guys for being patient. I saw some of you guys were like, bro, he's so late. Niggas on camel jockey time, whatever. Which, I can understand the frustration with that. So I'm contemplating moving the showtime to maybe 6 or 7 p.m., guys, especially since I'm doing these longer streams. Because, like, what ends up happening, chat, just me being honest with y'all, what happens is I'll stream. I've been doing, like, every day this week, I've been doing, like, bare minimum 8 to 10 hours. What's up happening is I stay wide awake. So I'll finish the stream at, like, 3, 4 a.m. I stay wide awake till damn near, like, 12 o'clock sometimes, chat. So I'm like, fuck. So I might go ahead and switch it to, like, 7 or 8 p.m. instead. But, yeah, I don't know. I'll figure it out. Maybe I'll do a poll with you guys. But yeah, someone said lazy. All right, nigga, you're commenting from YouTube. Shut the fuck up. I'm the complete opposite of lazy, bro. What the fuck are you talking about? Anyway, so that's kind of what it is. What I was thinking. Let's see here. No night train tonight, guys, because we got after hours. We got after hours tonight. So, but yeah, I just wanted to give you guys that news. Okay, let me go ahead and read some of these chats. O/Graper, O/ appreciate you, Mojo's Gambit, O/ the real streamer out there. You know it, baby. Everybody else is a bitch. Did you hear about Shannon Sharpe getting fired from ESPN and the basketball player Gilbert Arenas getting picked up by the feds for running illegal? What? No. Gilbert Arenas got arrested by the feds? Bro, hold on, man. Breaking news. What the fuck? Wow. 46 minutes ago. Okay, let me show you guys what I'm looking at. For those of you who don't know, Gilbert Arenas is a former NBA player. He was really good. I remember watching him back in like 03 and shit like that, back when I used to follow the NBA. What? Niggas got him for gambling, bro? All right, damn, this is breaking news. Let me go ahead and look at this shit. Wow.
Now with one breaking news, former NBA star Gilbert Arenas arrested and facing federal charges, accusing him of running an illegal gambling ring out of his San Fernando Valley home. Good afternoon. This is the KTLA 5 News at 1. I'm Glenn Walker.
And I'm Lou Parker. Arenas is expected to make his first appearance in a federal courtroom this afternoon.
KTLA 5's Jennifer McGraw live now outside that courtroom in downtown L.A. with more on this breaking story. Jennifer.
Yeah, Glenn and Lou, this is big news, especially for sports fans who adore him. Take a look. This happened.
Yeah, and I remember Gilbert Arenas was killing it back in the early 2000s, guys. Like, his jersey used to sell like crazy. I remember he used to have the number 0, and I think the reason why he had that number was because he used to get 0 minutes of play. It was a play on that. So, wow.
Back in allegedly in 2021 to 2022 that he was allegedly working this illegal poker game. He and 5 others have been indicted, alleging that the suspects operated an illegal gambling business. Now, this illegal gambling business went and spanned over for about a year. Gilbert Arenas, known as Agent Zero, well known for his career with the Wizards and current podcast, he and 5 others have been indicted for allegedly that the suspects operated the illegal gambling business in which high-stakes poker games were played at an Encino mansion Arenas owned. He is charged with 1 count of conspiracy to operate an illegal gambling business, 1 count of operating an illegal gambling business, and 1 count of making false statements to federal investigators. During this time, investigators say Arenas rented out an Encino mansion he owned for the purposes of hosting that.
Encino's a very nice suburb of LA.
At high-stakes poker. At Arenas' direction, Arthur Katz, 51 of West Hollywood.
Oh, nigga had a thing that said Arenas Poker Club? Nigga had a... Bruh. Yo, what the fuck? This nigga literally had branding for it? Bro. Yo. What the fuck? Wow. Dude, you know what? I might as well start selling drugs and make a thing that says, Myron Gaines Pharmacy. What the fuck, bro? Yo. This is the most nigga shit I've ever seen.
At Arenas's.
Yo, they're definitely going to use that as evidence against him, by the way, chat. Just so you guys know. They're literally going to say, you have branding for your gambling club, and you don't have a license for this. Nigga. This is going to be Government Exhibit 001. How much y'all want to bet? If he goes to trial, this is going to be Government Exhibit 001, bro. Yo. This nigga, bro. Wow. All right, guys, I'm going to start up an LLC. It's going to be called the Myron Gaines Pharmacy. I'm going to start selling drugs. Hopefully I don't get caught.
Direction, Arthur Katz, 51 of West Hollywood, staged the mansion to host the games and collected rent from the co-conspirators on Arenas' behalf.
By the way, let me tell you guys something I learned from being around a lot of girls. Illegal gambling in LA is fucking rampant, by the way. Okay? This is like some insider shit. Illegal gambling, literally, put it this way. There is such a big industry of legal gambling in LA. There's an entire underground industry of girls that their only job is to go to these underground poker games and serve out drinks and basically be waitresses / bartenders. That's how common gambling is in LA, which is kind of a weird that they would go ahead and actually arrest somebody for this. But I'll tell you why. It's because he's Gilbert Arenas. He's famous. So this is like this is going to be a big, case for them. It's going to be super, a lot of press, etc. I told you guys before, I'll say it again. As someone that used to work for the federal government, I know how it is. The feds are clout chasers. So if they could go ahead and make an arrest and it'll hit the news and it'll be a big arrest, they'll do it. Because illegal gambling in LA is fucking rampant. I see some of you guys in the chat agree with me. Yes, guys. I can't tell you how many times I've went to Vegas and I've met girls there. You know what they tell me? Oh, I'm like, hey, what do you do for work? A bunch of them. Yeah, so I do this, I do that. Also, one of the things I do is I go to LA and I bartend poker games. What? Yeah, there's a lot of like people that do underground gambling and they need like bartenders and waitresses and shit. I was like, what? And bro, I've met at least 5 to 10 girls that have told me about this shit. So, it's kind of like it's a very it's underground, but it is also very known as well. Does that make sense, chat? So, yeah. That's wild, though. That's wild that they went and, I guess they're trying to make an example out of Gilbert Arenas. Because this is a big problem in LA, chat. All these fucking rich people have underground gambling rings at their mansions.
A look at all the defendants listed on the indictment. It is alleged that the defendants' Pot Limbo Omaha poker games, among other illegal games, were played at the Encino mansion, collected a rake fee for the house charged from each pot.
And I'll be honest with you guys, the feds almost never go after gambling unless it's part of a bigger case. So I want you guys to also know this too when it comes to gambling and shit. So there's certain crimes that when charged alone, don't really get much time, right? Like interstate transportation of prostitutes, right? Like you guys saw with Diddy or whatever. Like there's certain charges that they'll never charge by themselves. Gambling is one of them. But what I've seen is they'll make exceptions and charge you with gambling if A, it's a part of RICO, like you got an organized crime or you got a organized crime squad, organized crime organization, right? It's organized crime. Or you're famous and they could get some clout off it. But illegal gambling, bro, most agencies don't even bother with doing it because the amount of work that it takes to get undercovers in there, build your case, etc., they're not going to do that much time for illegal gambling. Unless it's a part of a bigger case. This is how they used to go after the mafia. So what the mafia would do is they would have these illegal gambling rings. And they would use the gambling as a add-on charge to justify their racketeering charge. Does that make sense, guys? Because for racketeering, you need to display a pattern of racketeering activity. You need a couple of different prerequisite crimes. Gambling counts towards that. But it's not common that you see them coming after you for gambling alone and nothing else.
There as a percentage or as a fixed amount per hand and invited players to compete. Now, which is illegal. Now, if these defendants that have been listed in this indictment.
All right, so here's the DOJ press release. Shout out. Also, let me give a quick shout out. This comes from Kingstack 91. Kingstack, thank you for bringing this to my attention. He's a member of OSS. Guys, this is the beauty of being an OSS. I don't even, look, guys, KingStack91 is a member of the OSS. He sends a chat in. I pay attention to the OSS chat. I look at it. Now, look, we're talking about Gilbert Arenas because he brought that to my attention. That's one of the, guys, this is the power of being in the OSS. We got a fucking squad in there. So, shout out to all my OSS brothers in the chat. Okay? Love you guys. They could just donate $1 in, and I read every single chat. And if something like this pops up, breaking news, I cover it. So if you guys want to get involved in the show, guys, this is one of the benefits of being an OSS. I read all the OSS chats, right? And it's only $1 to get in, by the way. And it goes to $10 a month after that. I'm keeping the dues low so that, you know, everyone can get in and make it affordable because I'm going to start cutting shows, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to start cutting shows because, as you guys know, I went viral over the past fucking week. They try to cancel me and everything else like that for content from fucking Rumble. So now, if I really want to talk about taboo stuff, I got to do it behind OSS, bro. Because these motherfuckers are over here campaigning to get people canceled for some bullshit. It's really annoying. So, yeah. So yeah, I want to give a shout out to you, King Stacks. It's one of the benefits of being in the OSS. All right, so let's read this. Former NBA star, suspected Israeli crime figure, arrested on federal indictment alleging high-stakes illegal poker games at Encino. Okay, former NBA star Gilbert Arenas and 5 other defendants. Okay, so an Israeli star, huh? Or Israeli crime. Included a suspected high-level member of an Israeli transnational organized crime group were arrested today on a federal indictment alleging they operate an illegal gambling business in which high-stakes poker games were played. Arenas, 43, a.k.a. Agent Zero of Woodland Hills, is charged with 1 count of conspiracy to operate illegal. Okay, interesting. Also charged in indictment today. Okay, now we know why they went after them. This fucking guy here. You have Jenny Gershman, one of them boys. Each of these defendants is charged with 1 count of conspiracy to operate an illegal gambling business and 1 count of operating an illegal gambling business, blah, blah, blah. Okay, here we go. Gershman. Gershman, an Israeli citizen, also charged with Valentina Kojakari, 35 Woodland Hills, with 3 additional counts: conspiracy to commit marriage fraud, and making false statements in an immigration document. In early 2022, Gershman conspired with Kojakari to enter into a sham marriage for the purposes of obtaining a permanent legal status in the United States. I told y'all niggas this is what they be doing, bro. Marriage fraud is common. Who did this case? Hey, let's go. HSI did it, baby. Let's go. Here we go. Homeland Security Investigations Northridge office ran this case. All right. Let's go, HSI. Let's go, baby. Arresting these Israeli fucking crooks. Get them out of here. Get them out of here. Get that nigga out of here, baby. Send them back to Tel Aviv, baby. Nigga over here committing fucking gambling and fraud, marriage fraud. Fuck out of here. Let's go, baby. Oh, man. Okay. So he did marriage fraud and a whole bunch of other shit. All right. So Gershman and Kojari submitted false information on their U.S. immigration forms, including Gershman's answer of no as to whether he had ever been detained by a law enforcement official and as to whether he intended to engage in illegal gambling or any other form of commercialized vice. Kojakari was also arrested today and is scheduled to make her initial appearance to be arraigned this afternoon. Oh, wow. Okay, let's go through this real quick. Let's pull this up, chat. So let's go Pacer, Central District of California. Bam. Okay, so it looks like this guy was their main target, and then Gilbert Arenas just happened to know this nigga and was gambling with him. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's go into this. We could just type in Arenas because it's all going to come back by the same name. Arenas, Gilbert, run query. All right, so we're going to click this, defendant. Okay, so this is the one we're going to click. We're going to go USA versus Gershman et al. So, look, the fact that Gershman is the file title, that means that was their main target. Gilbert Arenas just got wrapped up in it. So, let's click this, USA versus Gershman, so we can look at everybody's case. So, you go there, then you click docket report. Then you hit run report. This is how you guys find cases federally. So here we go. Conspiracy operating illegal gambling business, conspiracy, marriage fraud, false statements and visas, etc. This is the Israeli guy. Evgeny, yeah, he's probably one of them too, bro. Alan Astoria. Yari Cohen. Oh, yeah, you definitely know this nigga, bro. Yaron Cohen. Holy. Arthur Katz. Gilbert Arenas. How much y'all want to bet Gilbert Arenas is the only dumb nigga that got caught up with these dudes? Okay, and then this is the girl, Valentina Kojakari. This is the girl that did the marriage fraud for the Israeli guy. Okay, let's see if we can look at the indictment. Sealed indictment. Let's see. Oh, so they indicted them last week. They indicted them on the 15th, but they arrested them today. Yeah, so they indicted them on the 15th. Okay, so... Okay, now I know a lot of you guys that watch me are new here. You guys might not... Give me ones in the chat if you guys want me to explain the difference between criminal complaints, indictments, versus arrest warrants, all that other shit. Information. Like, give me ones if you guys want me to explain it, because I've done this a million times on Fed Reacts, but I do realize that we got a new audience of new people that might not be familiar with my background and not familiar with how I've done these cases before. So if you guys want me to go ahead and do it, give me ones in the chat, and I'll explain the difference between indictment and everything else like this, because this is very important. Ones if yes, twos if no. Ones if yes, twos if no. All right, I see twos in the Rumble chat, but mostly ones in on YouTube. So you can tell the Rumble nigga's been here for a minute. All right, it's mostly ones. All right, I'll do it real quick. So I'll do it quickly for those that don't want to hear it again, but I'll go through it real fast. Okay, so I'm going to focus on the federal system when I do this explanation. In the federal system, guys, there's three ways that you're going to be arrested, okay? Number one, and most common, is by indictment, okay? An indictment is basically where a grand jury of your peers, okay, assembles, and they hear a case from a AUSA, a federal prosecutor, and an agent that's involved in the case, right? This is a formal way of charging someone. Most common and a formal way. If you're going to be arrested in the United States and charged with a federal crime, you need to be indicted by law, okay? Or hit with an information, which we're going to talk about information here in a second. So the way it works is this. Let's say I get a case, right? I get a call from Coast Guard, right? They give me a call and they say, hey, we got this guy. We caught him off the coast with, 100 kilos of cocaine. I show up. I interview the bad guy. Hey, where were these drugs supposed to go? Blah, blah, blah. Interview him. Arrest him, right? I take him from the custody of Coast Guard. I call the U.S. Attorney's Office. Hey, I got this guy here. We caught him with 100 kilos of cocaine trying to transport it. Can I get it? Can I get an acceptance of prosecution? Yep, we'll take it. Awesome. I write up a criminal complaint, and then we go later and we indict him, right, with a grand jury. When you go ahead and you indict somebody, the agent comes in and testifies and gives all the facts of the case. The AUSA is there asking the agent questions about the case. Now, it's very important that you guys understand, when you get indicted, the threshold is simply probable cause, okay? So when you go in and you testify for the grand jury, you're just establishing enough for probable cause to get what's called a true bill of indictment. And then the grand jury foreperson signs that, okay? And then when you get your true bill of indictment, you take it to the judge, and then the judge gives you an arrest warrant. Okay? Then you go pick up your guy. So that's how an indictment works. To sum it up, a group of your peers hears cases. The agent and the prosecutor present the case. If there's sufficient evidence to establish probable cause, they will return a true bill of indictment. Once you get that true bill of indictment, the agent goes and gets it signed by the judge's clerk. They get the arrest warrant, and they go pick up the guy. That's how an indictment works. Now, let's go back to the scenario I gave you guys before. I call the AUSA. Hey, I got this guy with 100 kilos of coke. Okay, will you guys accept prosecution? Yes. I write up something called a criminal complaint. A criminal complaint, guys, is a document that is supported by an agent's affidavit. In the affidavit, it lists out all the probable cause as to how this investigation started, how the individual committed the crime, and the evidence that we've established to establish, the evidence that was gathered to establish what? Probable cause. It's very important that you guys understand that in order to arrest someone in the United States, you need probable cause. And then to prove them guilty, you need beyond a reasonable doubt. So the threshold for probable cause is down here. Beyond a reasonable doubt is up here. This is why feds rarely take cases, because even though they're establishing probable cause just to get the guy arrested, a lot of the times they already have more than enough for beyond a reasonable doubt too. Okay? So the agent drafts up their affidavit, send it to the judge. Well, you send it to your AUSA. Your AUSA makes sure it's good, legally sufficient. He sends it to the judge. Judge's receptionist calls you in. You go into the judge's chambers. Is everything you say to the true and correct to the best of your knowledge, Agent Fuddle? Yes, you obviously swear to it. Yes, it is. Bam, he signs it. You get an arrest warrant, you go pick him up. Now, here's the important distinction. When you get a criminal complaint on somebody, right, you still have to indict the individual within 2 weeks after you file the criminal complaint. The criminal complaint, think of it as like a Band-Aid, okay? It gets the legal process going, but you're going to have to come in and do an indictment later. This is why most AUSAs prefer to just do an indictment off rip, so they don't have to go ahead and be redundant. So you're probably wondering, Myron, why the fuck do they even do criminal complaints? Like, what's the purpose of doing a criminal complaint if you got to indict them anyway? The reason why, guys, is because criminal complaints move much faster, okay? As you guys know, to convene a grand jury and present your case, that takes time. And in most districts, the grand jury only meets once every week or every 2 weeks, all right? So let's say, like, for example, when I was in Laredo, the grand jury used to meet every Wednesday, right? But that was a busy district. Other districts that aren't as busy, they might meet every 2 weeks, or they might not even meet unless there's a case that needs to be heard, right? So the criminal complaint allows the agent and the AUSA the flexibility to move quickly, make the arrest, and then worry about indicting them later. Because you get about a 2-week grace period to indict someone after you arrest them on probable cause criminal complaint, okay? So that is why criminal complaints are very popular, especially when you're out when you don't have that much time. I'll give you guys an example of this. When Little Dirk, right, when Little Dirk got arrested, as you guys know, he tried to flee the country, okay? When Little Dirk tried to flee the country, what he did was he booked multiple tickets to multiple places. I think he booked a flight to like Italy, another one to France or some shit like that. He booked like 3 different tickets. So clearly, he was a flight risk. So the agents didn't have time to fucking sit there and be like, oh yeah, let me go ahead and get a grand jury together. No, they had to make a move right there. So FBI LA called FBI Miami. Hey, we think he's gonna flee. We're writing up a criminal complaint over here. We need you guys to go arrest him. Cool. So the agent out of FBI Los Angeles writes up the criminal complaint, gives it to her AUSA. They get an arrest warrant. They got that arrest warrant. That agent emails that arrest warrant to FBI Miami. FBI Miami goes and gets him. Does that make sense, chat? So this is an example where a criminal complaint is very important. Another example, the Boston Marathon bombers. When the Boston Marathon bombers were arrested, right? Obviously, they led the police on a wild goose chase, throwing bombs out of cars, shooting at people, shooting at Watertown police officers. I remember it vividly because I was living in Boston at the time. When they finally caught Zarkar Sornev, as he was hiding in the boat, right? They took him into custody, and they didn't have time for a grand jury to fucking come in and convene. They just wrote up a criminal complaint. And I'll give you guys an example of this. Y'all gonna learn today, baby. So here you go, boom. This is a criminal complaint against Zarkar Sornev. Okay, you can see here Daniel R. Genk, special agent, right? So they filed it the day that they got him. And then they go ahead and go into all the facts of the investigation. So that's an example of when you're going to do a criminal complaint. You need to get the guy into custody quickly, and you need to get the proceedings going fast. That's when you do a criminal complaint. And then we did the indictment. Now, the third thing that they can use, okay, the third thing is something called an information. Now, informations are rare, guys. They're very rare. And what information is typically is the AUSA themselves files a document to charge you. Okay? No affidavit, no nothing. They just file information. Now, when it comes to informations, you're still charged with a felony. It's all the same shit. But typically, what I've seen with informations is people that get charged with informations typically are cooperating with the government early on in the investigation. Right? They'll turn themselves in. They're trying to cooperate with the government, whatever the fuck it may be. Maybe they're giving information, whatever. So, like, information a lot of the times, 9 out of 10 times, means that that individual's cooperating with the government. It's not as serious. Still serious. You're still getting hit with a felony. But more than likely, you're not going to do a lot of time behind bars if you get hit with an information. But it is still officially a charging document. So, to recap, an indictment is a formal charge in the United States. Okay? If you're not getting hit with an information, you must be indicted by law in the United States. It's a formal charge of a criminal in the criminal justice system. A criminal complaint is a way to expedite the process of the indictment and get the individual under custody. But the drawback for that, what it has in speed, lacks in authenticity to a degree, because you have to still indict the individual after. Criminal complaints work when you're pressed for time and you got the subject in front of you and you don't want to let him go. You already got him in custody. So what, you want to fucking let him go and then come back and indict him 2 weeks later? No, he'll be fucking gone. So you arrest him, write up the criminal complaint, and that complaint will keep him in custody for 2 weeks so you can go ahead and get your indictment together. Give me ones in the chat if that makes sense. Yeah, who else on the fucking internet can do these breakdowns for you guys? I don't think anybody can, by the way. Because I've done all three. I've done informations with AUSAs. I've done indictments, obviously, hundreds of them. Criminal complaints, all that shit. All right, awesome. So here you go. So in the indictment, right? The indictment isn't going to have as much facts as a criminal complaint. That's why I like criminal complaints so much better, because the criminal complaint is written by the agent. And in the criminal complaint, you get all the, nitty-gritty details of how they establish probable cause. In the indictment, you don't get that. You kind of get more of a overview of the case. So beginning no later than or about September 12, 2021, and continuing at least on or about July 20, 2022 in Los Angeles County within the Central District of California. Elsewhere, these are all the defendants, knowingly conspire with each other with others known to blah, 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 right, to do the gambling shit. And then they go into, the facts. Look at this. I knew it. These niggas literally took this. This is going to be used as evidence against them right here. The fact that this guy literally made branding for it is crazy. So look, you can see all these overt acts. The reason why they have these overt acts, guys, is because in order to charge someone with conspiracy, you need an agreement between 2 or more people and an overt act. So look, here we go. On November 23rd, 2021, defendant Arenas texted defendant Katz that his financial advisor, RJ, was asking for rent for the illegal poker game hosted at the Gable House. Boom. That's considered an overt act for conspiracy purposes. It doesn't take much, chat. It doesn't take much. So, damn, niggas got 25 plus overt acts? Wow. 45 overt acts. Yeah, these niggas are cooked. God damn. God damn. And the other thing, too, is they clearly got this information from their phones. Because they said, look, how they're referring to text messages. Okay, so Arenas, look, 18 U.S.C. 1001. You guys know you guys watch me? You guys should know this. Chat, what does 1001 mean? Test. Pop quiz for you guys. What's 18 U.S.C. 1001? Quick. What is it, guys? What is it? Let's see how many of you guys pay attention. What is 1001? I literally went over this like a day or two ago. Let's see how much you guys retain the information. Pop quiz. What is 18 U.S.C. 1001? Don't look it up, niggas. Off the top. Who is it? What is it? You guys are getting close. All right, some guys got it. They said lying. Yep, there you go. perjury is lying on the stand mostly. Okay. On or about September 9, 2022, in Los Angeles County within the Central District of California, petition seeking the records, blah, 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 blah. On or about July 2022, two from the master bedroom of residence located Gable Drive, blah, blah, in a matter within the jurisdiction. Okay. Okay, so Gilbert Arenas made the following materially false statement and misrepresentation to United States Customs and Border Protection, knowing that this statement and representation was untrue. Okay, so I guess he wanted money back that was seized. So Arenas falsely stated that he was not involved in whatever was going on at the party, referring to the illegal gambling at the Gable House on July 19, 2022. In fact, as defendant Arenas then knew, defendant Arenas had knowingly provided gambling equipment at the Gable House to be used to host an illegal poker game on July 19, 2022, had knowingly rented out the Gable House to be used to host an illegal poker game on July 19, 2022, and was collecting rent from the host for operating the illegal gambling game at the Gable House on July 19, 2022. Cooked. Fucking cooked. Wow. Nigga lied to federal agents. Bro, this is why you just don't talk to them. Why the fuck did he even talk? Oh, you know why? He talked to them, he wanted his money back. That's why. There you go. That's how they got him. So this is what basically happened, chat. So it seems, so he wrote a petition to get money back, right? Because they had seized some cash from him during a search warrant or some shit like that. And in a petition for him to get his money back, he lied to customs and said, "Oh, I'm not involved in this gambling operation. I need my money back." Well, we know that's a lie because they got the rent records. And they probably got the fucking money transactions of him sending money for rent and all that. Yep. All right. Well, Gilbert Arenas, holy, what a fucking hell.
Are charged. This means that they could spend up to 5 years in prison for each count.
Wow. All right. Incredible. Okay. Shout out to KingStack91 for bringing that to my attention. Crazy news, bro. Okay. Guys, give me a question. Sorry, a question. Give me a 1 in the chat if you learned something new from that segment of the stream. With the whole Gilbert Arenas, feds, lying under oath, conspiracy, gambling, criminal complaint versus indictment. Give me a 1 if you guys learned something in that little segment right there. I'm really trying hard to like be informative and educate you guys on stuff too. I don't want to just make it entertainment and JQing all day. I do want to actually like teach you guys shit too from someone that used to do this stuff back in the day. All right, awesome. So even the guys that put 2s earlier learned something. All right, cool. Okay. Burrow says, fuck all those haters trying to silence you and smash the like, YouTube brokies. Let's fungo. Already know gonna be a fire pod. Thank you so much, Burrow. Pop and 7 says, hey Fit, did you hear how Outdoors dad quit YouTube because his wife started getting jealous? He was making millions a month. I did hear about that. God Try says, been a fan since I seen the video of the monkey threatening the studio. I sent a super chat on your first live stream about me losing my kids. It didn't send the full chat, but you saved my life and never give up. You saved us all. Stay strong, G. Yo, God Try, thank you so much for that, bro. Thank you so much for that. Every single one of you guys that sends me a message saying I saved your lives, don't think I'm just like glossing over it. Like I'd be documenting that shit. Pause. Matter of fact, I'm gonna take a picture right here, man. Because that's very important to me. Kumo DTV. I sent this yesterday. Christianity, as we know, it was created by European hundreds of years after Christ has been ever changing. It's literally the longest running game of telephone. Okay. Announcement. I might as well make this announcement for you guys. Thursday, I'm going to jump on stream with my guy, Andrew fucking Wilson, and we're going to get to the bottom of this, okay? Right? Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Right? I'm going to jump on stream with my good friend, Andrew Wilson, and we are going to discuss biblical scripture as it applies to Israel. Okay? As you guys know, Andrew Wilson is a devout Orthodox Christian, knows the Bible very well. He's someone that I respect quite a bit. I love the guy. And I take his opinion very seriously, and he's an expert on the Bible and Christianity. So I'm going to go to him And we're going to have that discussion. And I'm just going to have him educate me on this. Like, you know, what scripture is cap? What scripture is true? You know, is it blessing the Israelis or is it blessing Abraham? You know, we're going to go ahead and discuss all that. So, you know, I'm going to come in and try to learn this stuff because I do think it's important. As you guys know, I debate Zionists all the time. So, and I typically stay away from scripture and religious stuff because then it could be open to interpretation and all of the bullshit. But I do think it's important for me to understand this stuff to make my position stronger when I debate these Zionists, right? You know, it's a good thing to have in my back pocket, even though I do think that going down the religion road is not the best way to go. But if I at least understand it and it goes into that road, I'll be somewhat versed, right? So that will be on Thursday with Andrew Wilson. And I think Jake from Rattlesnake TV will probably join us as well. So stay tuned for that. Going to be a good discussion. And yeah. Burrow says, cut the YouTube chat already with these fucking comments. Ungrateful assholes. We got, you guys hate the YouTube guys. Creation Bear says, what's your bare minimum for sleep? I try to get 7 to 10 hours. Isaiah JR, what's up, bro? You hear that Manhattan shooter killed the Blackstone CEO? We got another Luigi. Oh. Did he actually kill the Blackstone CEO? I know this came out yesterday. There are rumors of that. But yeah. Brian99 says, I put an O/ in Osman Gold's chat and got banned. Yo! Guys, you know what's fucking hilarious? I'll be in other people's, I'll be watching someone else's stream, and I'll see random O/ in the chat. And sometimes what I'll see is I'll see like the mod will instantly ban that person. I'm like, yeah, that guy's probably from OSS. So, fucking funny, bro. We're growing, guys. The army is growing. The army is fucking growing. Okay. Gabby says, I just got in here. Did they mention that he was gambling with Israeli crime boss? Yes, Gabby, we did mention that. Thank you for that. Notice how the fucking KTLA did not mention that. We had to go and look at the DOJ press release to get it. Did you guys catch on to that? These bitch-ass niggas from LA did not mention that he got arrested with an Israeli crime boss. We had to pull up the fucking DOJ article to find that out. Incredible. Anyway. Guaranteed that news organization is probably owned by... Matter of fact, hold on. Now I'm curious, actually. KTLA 5? All right, watch this. Okay. Okay. So Next Star Media. Founder Perry Sook. Hold on, chat. So I'm looking at. I wonder. Perry Sook. Interesting. Gives me them boys vibes, but we'll see. Anyway, all right, let's keep going. Alex1999 says, only Myron Gaines can give valuable information like this, WSS. Appreciate you, Alex1999. Ghost JQ says, after many days of debunking the H, they finally got me, dog. W Myron, you my voice now. Oh, wow, bro. They've banned you. They banned you on X? Bro, X is the worst, man. Jacob joined for the year. Welcome to the OSS, my friend. Guys, I am running a promo. If you guys join the OSS, you can join in, use the code JFK911 to get in for the year at only $50, or you can join in with OSS Army with $1 for the first month, then it goes to 10 after that. Can we react to Nick and Alex Jones debate on Epstein? Oh, they debated that? I don't know. Okay. Yeah, Sam Shamoon as well on the pod. KTA says is owned by Nexstar. Yep. But yo, do me a favor, Callie Drake. Is Perry Sook one of them boys? Can you research that for me, Callie? Because obviously I'm in here. I don't want to waste time doing that. Christopher says, nigga, I was just about to hop on Andrew's stream and super chat him about the Schofield bio because I don't understand who's supposed to be following it. Okay. Bofkin says, yo, Myron, Sam Shamoon already did a video debunking the God's chosen myth. Okay, he did. All right. Fitness by the last stream he talked about who the Israelis are that we have to protect or bless to be blessed with. Brandon Mize quotes, people aren't telling you that when Jesus came to Paul, basically. Okay, yeah. I'll cover this all with Andrew Wilson, bro. I'll cover that all with Andrew Wilson.
My point was...
Okay, so I got this Sam Shamoon video. I'll watch this later. Okay, all right, what else do we got here? Okay. Somebody send me the link of the debate between Nick and Alex on Epstein then. If you guys want me to react to it. Do me a favor and send it to me. But speaking of Epstein, I found this interesting video right here, chat. Okay. On inside Epstein's cell, what really happened. So let's watch this and react to it. Okay, since we're on the topic of Epstein. And let's go through it and just...
At 10:40 p.m. on August 9th, 2019, this figure appears in the most secure prison in America. 15 seconds later, it vanishes. 8 hours after that, Epstein is found dead. This is cell 220, 60 square feet where the most controversial death in modern America occurred. The DOJ released 11 hours of surveillance footage. They called it raw evidence, but digital forensics experts discovered something disturbing. This isn't raw footage, it's an edited compilation. FBI Director Dan Bongino.
Shout out to my guy, Cub Q55 with the gifted sub. Appreciate you, my friend, on Kick. And shout out to also Robin Kobe with the gifted sub as well. Thank you, guys. And Cub QB with another gifted sub. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you.
Had promised.
We are working on cleaning it up to make sure you have an enhanced, and we're going to give the original so you don't think there were any shenanigans.
But they delivered.
Man, this Epstein thing is such a fucking black eye for the Trump administration, dude. Holy shit.
Edited footage instead. So what did the footage actually capture?
Guys, also do me a favor, smash that like button. We only got 2,300. Sorry, we only got 754 likes, but 2,300 you guys watching live. Smash that fucking like button for me, guys.
I recreated the entire facility using official DOJ investigation materials.
Oh, the debate is live tonight between Alex and Nick. Okay, it hasn't happened yet. Thank you. You're just a hoe. You guys got these crazy ass names, bro, on OSS, man. Hilarious. But yeah, thank you so much, bro. I love you guys at OSS, bro. Y'all be feeding me intel real time for the stream, man. Thank you, guys.
Understand what cameras
Thank you, Cub. Appreciate you with the gifted, bro.
could see and what they couldn't. This is the Metropolitan Correctional Center, 12 stories towering over lower Manhattan, 750 inmates, $40 million a year to operate. This wasn't some underfunded rural jail. This was the crown jewel of federal detention. The building housed America's most...
And just so you guys know, this detention center is right next to the federal courthouse where I was at when I went to do the Diddy trial. This courthouse is literally right on the same street.
Dangerous federal defendants, mob bosses on the lower floors, international terrorists in the middle tiers, and on floors 9 and 10, the special housing unit, where they put the cases too high profile for anywhere else. The SHU had 42 cells across 2 tiers, the L and M tiers. This is where they housed John Gotti Jr., where El Chapo's associates waited for trial. 23 hours a day locked down. 1 hour recreation, the most secure cells in one of America's most secure facilities. This is cell 220, reinforced concrete walls, a narrow window just inches wide, a metal bunk bed, combination toilet and sink, no television, no radio, no clock. From a surveillance perspective, this cell had natural blind spots. The camera that should have monitored the corridor wasn't working. The only views come from this camera way across the unit. This is the actual L-tier corridor where Epstein was housed. Notice how long the hallway is. From the guard station, you cannot see down this corridor at all. That door just visible through the gates is Epstein's cell door. Even if guards had been perfectly attentive, their view was severely limited by the facility's architecture. And here's what makes this
Alright guys, we're gonna be
more
stepping
bizarre.
it up with the OSF.
What happens at midnight on August 10th, 2019, 11:58, 11:59, then it jumps.
And remember guys, Pam Bondi addressed this saying like this missing minute is on every single video.
Straight to 12, with distortion in the video file. 1 minute missing from the most secure prison in America. It's Epstein's last full
Man, this just like fuels conspiracy theories, bro. This is such a black eye for the DOJ, Pam Bondi, and Trump, man.
day alive on August 9th. Let me walk you through exactly what happened minute by minute. In the morning at 8:30 a.m., Epstein's cellmate is removed. Standard procedure requires immediate...
Now, I think this guy right here was his cellmate, Tartaglione or some shit like that. Tartaglione Epstein. I'm butchering his name, but I know. Ex-cop, yep. So this guy was, well, I think one of his cellmates, Nicholas Tartaglione, was sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences for kidnapping and killing 4 men in 2016. So you got a corrupt cop, who's huge, by the way. The guy's in great shape, right? A lot of people suspect that he was the one that killed Epstein.
Replacement with another prisoner. No replacement is assigned. Epstein is now alone. Fast forward to 7:49 p.m. Epstein is returned to cell 220 after his legal meeting.
And just so you guys know, I think this guy got arrested by the FBI. For like corruption. Here he is. So this happened in 2024. He got sentenced. He was a police officer. He orchestrated kidnapping and murders of all 4 victims on April 11, 2016. Tartaglione was sentenced today by the U.S. District Judge. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Martin was killed because the cop believed Martin had stolen approximately $250,000 meant for the purchase of cocaine. I'm just going to call him Tart. Tortured Martin by restraining him and beating him for over an hour, but when Martin did not provide the location of the missing money, T strangled Martin to death with a zip tie. God damn, niggas on some mafia time. Okay, so FBI and the New York State Police and the Village of Chester Police Department did the case. So this guy was dealing drugs. He kidnapped and murdered Martin Luna, Urbango Santiago, Miguel Luna, and Hector Gutierrez. Martin was 41 years old when he died. Urbano was Martin's nephew by marriage, was 35 years old, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Hector was a close family and friend of all. All 4 victims left behind a loving family, and many of their family members attended the trial in this case. So he tortured one guy and killed him. Urbano, Miguel, and Hector were killed, each with a single gunshot to the back of the head, execution style, because they witnessed Martin's murder and were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Okay, so Martin is the guy that he killed, and I guess these people saw him kill him, so he had to shoot them. And he buried all 4 victims in a mass grave on his remote property in Otisville, New York. The 4 victims remained in the ground until the February investigation's Hudson Valley Safe Streets Task Force located the grave in 2016. Holy. This nigga was on some demon time, bro. Bruh. Conspiracy to distribute possession intent 5 kilos. Yeah, these are the charges he got. Wow. Yeah, this was Epstein's cellmate, chat. This was his fucking cellmate, man. This shit is crazy. And then what was this out of? This got to be the Southern District of New York. So you know what? Here. Southern. I'm curious now. Let's pull up his case real quick, chat. That's a unique last name, so just run it off that. Okay, maybe not as common. Let's do this one. Yep, this is it right here. So here's his case. All right. Damn, bro had a lot of lawyers. Holy. Okay. So it was a so they indicted him. All right, here we go. All right. So FBI did the case on him. Let's go back to this.
The cell door closes. He is alone inside. At 10 p.m, the night shift begins. 2 officers take positions at the guard station. They're responsible for monitoring 42 prisoners across the 2 tiers. One was on her 5th consecutive day. The other had just worked 18 hours straight. This wasn't...
So it's safe to say that they probably weren't going to be as attentive as they should be.
malice. It was a system pushed beyond breaking point. 10:40 p.m. Last documented visual confirmation of Epstein alive. A guard conducts a security round, briefly observing him through a cell door window. But here's what the surveillance system captured at that exact moment. A working camera records that small orange figure moving through the SHU corridor. The image quality is too poor to identify who this person is. Could be medical staff.
So what the fuck is this? Interesting.
Could be maintenance, but the timing is curious. It's the last recorded movement in the area before morning. The figure moves through the SHU and disappears. Then 8 hours of silence. What were the guards doing during these 8 hours? Computer logs tell the story.
Now, guys, let me tell you about BOP prison guards. They're fucking retards, okay? I'll be honest with y'all. BOP prison guards, like 80% of them are functioning morons. Okay, we're talking about some of the laziest, fattest, dumbest motherfuckers ever. Because I remember I used to be at Fletzy. They're only there for 2 weeks, right? So no one in the federal system respects them. Literally useless. Lazy as shit, man.
One was browsing motorcycle websites while the
Oh, this nigga browsing motorcycle websites.
other was asleep. The
Bruh.
guards falsified their logbooks. They claimed to have completed 8 security rounds during that night. Electronic logs prove they never left their station. For 8 hours straight, no one checked on Epstein. 6:30 a.m. August 10th. The guards finally conduct a security round. They find Epstein unresponsive in his cell. The bed sheet had been twisted into a ligature, one end tied to the bed frame, the other formed into a loop. But the surveillance breakdown goes much deeper. The Metropolitan Correctional Center had an extensive surveillance system, over 200 cameras through the facility. On August 9th, only 2 cameras in the entire special housing unit were functioning. 2 cameras to monitor 42 prisoners across 2 tiers. And here's what's crucial, there were no cameras inside individual cells. The real problem, DVR Unit 2, the one recording the special housing unit, had crashed on July 29th, 12 days before Epstein's death. It wasn't
Oh, man. Talk about convenient.
recording anything from the most secure part of the prison. Even with backup systems, nothing was recorded in the SHU, and no one noticed. There was a clear problem. In the 5 years before Epstein's death, at least 3 other inmates had died in custody. Attempts were so common they'd run out of dedicated cells to prevent this from happening. But that timestamp gap from 11:58 to 12 a.m, the court documents show this occurred regularly, not just on the night Epstein died, but on dozens of other nights. It's a system quirk, not evidence of tampering. $40 million a year. That's what it costs to run this facility. $109,000 per day, and on the night it mattered most, the 2 cameras that could have answered everything weren't working. So what really happened in cell 220? Let's test 3 main theories.
And let me tell y'all something about the government, bro. The government is incredibly inefficient. Okay? Let me be clear about that, all right? The U.S. government is incredibly inefficient, bro. They're behind on technology. They're behind on everything. Like, it takes forever to get anything done. right? It's extremely bureaucratic, filling out a bunch of paperwork to get shit done. It's a fucking pain in the ass, dude. It does not operate like the private sector whatsoever. A lot of bloat, a lot of lazy fucks that don't want to do anything. Now, before we get into these different, because he's going to give 3 different theories of what potentially happened, but quick word from our sponsor. Join the OSS, niggas. All right, guys, we're going to be stepping it up with the OSS, but only for the guys that are the real active supporters. So this is how it's going to go. We're going to start giving away merch bundles once a month. All kinds of merch can be given away to you guys for supporting. Also, we're going to be doing call-in parts of the show where members of the OSS Army can go in and call into the show and give their takes on certain different types of topics, whatever we're talking about on that particular day. Also, we're going to start doing shows, guys, where we're going to do parts that are only OSS members so that we can actually say what we want to say, put the memes up on screen that we want to put up, and not have to worry about censorship. Unfortunately, even on regular platforms, we can still get clipped and put out of context and still be labeled for cancellation. All the uncensored stuff that we want to do, it's going to be on the OSS members portion only. Now, I know what you guys are wondering. Oh my God, Byron, no, I can't afford it. No problem. It's going to be only $1 to get in, guys, for the first month, and it goes to regular dues price. So get in there, join us, allow us to be able to continue the fight against censorship, because even on free speech platforms, they clip our shit and try to cancel us anyway. All right. So let's get back to it. Yeah, guys, that's the best way to help out and join the mission.
Against the evidence. Theory 1, outside elimination. For this to work, someone would need to infiltrate the facility, reach Epstein's cell, and escape. Theory 2, guard conspiracy. Did guards intentionally enable Epstein's death? The evidence tells a different story. Computer logs showed the personal internet use that they did. One guard was literally sleeping at their desk. This isn't coordination, it's negligence. The system just failing. Theory 3. Institutional failure. This theory aligns with all physical evidence. The cell provided the means, bed sheets, a sturdy attachment point, privacy from observation, 8 hours of unmonitored time provided the opportunity. Every layer of protection failed. Cameras, guards, and oversight. He was found by the side of the lower bunk in a kneeling position. The physical evidence is consistent with the available materials in the cell. The Metropolitan Correctional Center couldn't survive this level of scrutiny. In 2021, the facility was permanently closed. Decades of deterioration had made safe operation impossible. The real scandal isn't what happened in the missing minute, it's what happened in the 8 hours when this man was left completely alone in a facility designed with blind spots. The cameras that were supposed to capture everything captured nothing. When it mattered most, the guards who were supposed to watch weren't watching. The system that was supposed to work had stopped working long before August 10th, 2019. And now, even with the footage they claim proves what happened, has been edited and compromised. Sometimes the hardest truth to accept is that we may never know what really happened in cell 220.
Yep. Nobody knows at this point, man. And all this is done is just like fuel conspiracy theorists to be like, what's going on? Okay, let me read some of these chats, and then we're going to get into the UK. So, Paulie Walnut says, hey, Myron, I worked at the prison Epstein was in. The camera they released is from the outside 10th South. That's not where he was. The unit houses ex-Gitmo detainees in total isolation. Per protocol, suicidal inmates get a cellmate. Epstein was placed alone. The psychologist who cleared him was allegedly pressured by leadership, then went on a cruise the next day. Epstein was in a cell alone. I have paperwork proving I worked there. Can't share more here due to a character limit. Interesting, Paulie Walnuts. Very, very interesting. Food stamps. Myron, I know you hate traveling. I do too. But you should come to University of North Texas in Denton, Texas. You'll have agents on hand to help with logistics and speed awareness. Agents. I'm set up nearby VFW with a lot of your fans and like-minded individuals. I already messaged Uncensored America on IG. Hopefully they'll see it. I found you on there, YouTube, and have been a fan ever since. //. All right. Yeah. Let me know if Sean gets back to you. Food stamps. I told him that he was going to get a bunch of messages from people that want me to go to their school. Stein here says, hey, Myron, I would like your opinion on if a woman has already had sex and then got baptized and then told her next man to wait till marriage. Should the guy wait or be done? Bro, that's a case-by-case basis, man. Right? There's no real, because there's no way to answer that in a black and white way. I would need to, know who she is, how long was she at 304? You know what I mean? Like how did she convert? We need a bunch of different factors to make a decision. But I will tell you that a lot of the times when these girls like say, "Oh, I found God," it's bullshit, bro. I mean, look at Brittany Renner. Here, I'll give you a perfect example right now. Look at this fucking bitch right here. Like,
but we are following some breaking.
So Brittany Renner, as you guys know, right? Like, took this whole Islam thing, covering her hair and shit like that. Then look, I wore cornrows under my hijab just so my hair could fit, right? She's back to being a thought. You know what I mean? Like, her being religious, you know, it was all cap, bro. And I called it too. I said that she was going to probably go back to being a slut within 1 or 2 years.
So, you know,
I'll give her credit, though. I did not think she was going to last that long. All right, I'll give y'all credit. Like, I think originally I had said like 3 to 6 months maybe, or a year. I forget exactly what I said. But I am surprised that she was able to last that long. Not going to lie to y'all.
Internet never lets me down. I log on today and Brittany Renner took off her hijab for the first time in over a year since converting to Islam.
Yeah, just her being a fucking thought, bro.
With the icon of
you'll always be a part of me.
So I'm asking everybody to hit us with their best Mariah Carey notes. So let me hear your.
All
right, these niggas are trash. Some of these YouTubers are retards, bro. Just get to the point, man. But either way, we know she's cooked, right? All right, let's see what else we got here. Okay, Levier Adams says, "Yo, bro, are you almost done with that plasma yet?" Plasma? What are you talking about? Callie Dre. Sook doesn't seem to be one of them boys, but KTLA is known for skipping important facts such as the real reason. Hold on one sec, guys. Hold on. Frank is ready to get picked up at the store. Give me one sec. All right, hold on, guys. I dropped Frank off for a bath. Nigga was starting to stink. Bear with me, guys. All right, what else do we got here? Okay, so Sook doesn't seem to be one of the boys, but KTLA is known for skipping important facts such as the real reason Trump sent in National Guard. Yeah, not surprised. TJ says, Marin, I had to tune out the stream for a second. Did you catch my chat about Tucker and Mearsheimer's interview? No, TJ. Yo, Marin, I super chatted Dean Withers. Yo, Marin, I super chatted Dean Withers and said to debate you so you can destroy his dumb fucking hypothetical left and /. Then he called me dumb and banned me. Crazy how lib pussies are scared to debate you. / for life. Yeah, bro. Dean Withers is a bitch. Guys, don't forget, Dean Withers was the one that challenged me first, and I said yes. And then he said, "Oh, I don't think you're going to debate him because of good faith." What? Hey, Martin, the Epstein debate is live tonight between Nick and Alex. Yeah, I know. But she judges me for my 400 bodies. Stein, if she judges you for that, then wait, why'd you tell her? Why'd you tell her you got 400 bodies, nigga? All right, my theory, UK did this Palestine recognition just to fuel Zionists to say Islam took over the countries. All right, we're going to get into it right now. All right, let's get into this UK thing.
Prime Minister Keir Starmer has just announced that the UK will recognize a Palestinian state in September unless Israel agrees to a ceasefire in Gaza and take steps forward to long-term peace. And we did want to play out at least some comments from UK Prime Minister Starmer right now.
Thank you. I'll take some questions. John. Prime Minister, two issues here, obviously the aid and also the recognition of Palestine. First of all, on aid, what assurances did you receive from President Trump that he will use his influence with Prime Minister Netanyahu to allow the aid that you've talked about, the aid going in by trucks as well as by air? What assurance did you receive from him? He sounded as though when he talked to...
Yo, chat, what time is the debate supposed to be with Nick and Alex? What time is this supposed to be, chat? Bishop Brandon Myron, I just did an oil change in my 2001 Rottweiler. Why won't she run right? What? Okay. Yeah, guys, let me know. 9 p.m. Central, so that means okay, so that means 10 p.m. Eastern. If it's okay, 10 p.m. Eastern. Damn, that's late.
About every ounce of food going in, and you can't fake.
I might not be able to cover all of it then, chat, because we got obviously we got after hours.
The pictures that we've seen on TV. Tell me about the reassurances you've heard, the promises, pledges from President Trump, and on the recognition issue, you do appear to have moved your position.
Okay, I see what you guys mean. You're talking about this interview, guys. Okay, someone asked about Tucker Carlson and Mearsheimer. Yeah, so Tucker sat down with John Mearsheimer. The Palestinian genocide, how the West has been deceived into supporting it. Okay, yeah, John Mearsheimer, guys, he's a very reputable figure because he's been talking about the Israel lobby since like 2005, chat. Okay, like this dude is been in the game for a minute. If you look here, the Israel lobby, right, and U.S. foreign policy, and he's this is the book. He released this thing, 2007. So bro was way ahead of his time. Way ahead of his time. And obviously he got canceled for anti-Semitism and all the other bullshit, right? But bro's been in the game for a minute, man. One of the experts when it comes to this shit, for sure. Mearsheimer, I like this guy a lot. I got to get him on my show. I got to find a way to talk to him and get him on my show.
From as recently as last week, really, where you were talking about various other measures. I'm wondering what has influenced you into making what looks like a U-turn here on this issue. Is it pressure from the 250 or so MPs, most of whom are Labour? Is it pressure from inside your cabinet? We hear there are 7 cabinet ministers pressing you to push for recognising Palestine, or is it President Macron, who of course lobbied you? He talked about it last Thursday about recognising the Palestine also at the UN General Assembly. And what difference do you think actually recognising Palestine will actually make in practical terms?
Thank you for those questions. Firstly, on the question of aid. I won't go into the discussions I had with President Trump yesterday. We had a long session in private. And we discussed the situation in Gaza, and you heard the way the President then put it in the press conference that we held afterwards, and I think you could see for yourself his concern about the humanitarian situation in Gaza, as is my concern, because we've been saying for some considerable time now we need to get more aid in at volume and at speed, and the situation now is absolutely catastrophic, which is why I've taken this decision today. In relation to the two-state...
Oh, sorry, guys.
Solution and the recognition of Palestine. This has been long-standing Labour Party policy. It was in our manifesto. We talked about the right...
What I said was, guys, was that even Trump knows that it's a starvation campaign. Even Trump knows that. I showed you guys this clip yesterday where he said on Air Force One, you know, the kids are starving over there. This is contrary to what dumbass Netanyahu, right, try to say, oh, no, we're not starving them. And then Charlie Kirk doubled down, right? And Charlie Kirk, hold on one sec, bro. Give me one sec, chat. All right, anyway, so yeah. So despite the fact that the Israeli government, Netanyahu, and all these mouthpieces are lying, saying like, oh, there's no systemic starvation, Donald Trump came out and said on Air Force One there's starvation. And on top of that, obviously the UK, the two biggest allies for Israel, by the way, are coming out saying the starvation is going on. And Charlie Kirk tried to fucking double down and with a dumbass rabbi saying, oh, the starvation is a lie. Bro, even Trump admits that they're fucking starving them. So, dude, it's a fucking lie. And then Charlie Kirk made himself look like a complete dummy because 2 days ago he went out with a rabbi and said, "Oh, there's no starvation in Gaza." Then yesterday, Trump comes out and says there is starvation in Gaza. So Charlie Kirk looks like a fucking dumbass right now.
Of the Palestinians to recognition, and we've always said that would be part of the process, and that it would be an important part of the point that we thought it would have maximum impact. It's driven today by two things. Firstly, the context in the intolerable situation in Gaza, which is getting worse.
Yeah, bringing in a rabbi to say that there's no starvation in Gaza is like having Ted Bundy interview a fucking female saying that serial killing isn't that bad. Fucking retarded.
By the day. But also because of the concern that the very possibility of a two-state solution is reducing, and therefore it is very important to be seen in that context.
This retard crown prince says, are you concerned what's going on in Sudan? Bro, I've talked about Sudan a bunch of times, bro. Shut the fuck up. Holy shit, some of you niggas are retarded.
As a very important contribution to what I hope will be an alleviation of the situation on the ground, because
some of the people in YouTube chat are literally fucking retards and clearly don't watch my content, bro. You niggas are stupid.
Acutely aware that what needs to happen urgently is that aid into Gaza at speed and at volume, and that ceasefire that can open the way for a political process. So this is a decision taken by this government in the context of today and after a meeting with my cabinet just earlier this afternoon. On the question of the difference it will make, the reason we have announced this in the way we have in relation to the General Assembly in September is precisely because I want to ensure that this plays a part in changing the conditions on the ground. And making sure that that aid gets in, making sure that there is hope of a two-state solution for the future. And therefore, I've always been interested in what is going to make a material difference, how can we work with our allies most effectively, and that's why this comes as a part of a peace plan that we've been working on for some considerable time, an 8-part plan, which I've already spoken to Germany and France about, and many other countries. So this should be in the context of answering the question, yes, how do you get humanitarian aid in at speed and at volume, but also what happens the day after a much-needed ceasefire so that we can get to a long-term peaceful outcome. And I think that that is the context in which you should see the decision that I've made today. Can I go to David, PA, please? David.
Yeah, thanks very much, Prime Minister. David Lynch from PA. In your statement just now, you've said that the UK will recognise a state of Palestine unless Israel takes steps to end the situation in Gaza and reach a ceasefire. That sounds like our recognition of Palestine is conditional. Why is that? And how confident?
Good question. Let's see how he answers this.
Are you that a ceasefire can be reached by September?
Well, the primary aim here is to change the situation on the ground for people who desperately need change. We need a ceasefire. We need always to keep in our mind the hostages and the atrocity of October the 7th. And they must be immediately released. They've been held a very, very long time. But also we need, alongside that, to ensure that we get aid at volume and in speed into Gaza, because the situation is simply intolerable. And this is intended to further that cause. And it is done now because I am particularly concerned that the very idea of a two-state solution is reducing and feels further away today than it has for many, many years, and therefore it should be seen in both of those contexts. Thank you both very much indeed.
All right, so that was UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. As we are following breaking news, a live look right here at the border between Gaza and Israel. This as Prime Minister Keir Starmer has just announced that the UK will recognize a Palestinian state in September unless Israel agrees to a ceasefire in Gaza and also takes steps toward long-term peace. Prime Minister Starmer called ministers together for a cabinet meeting to discuss the situation in Gaza. That meeting, very rare in the summertime. He did tell them that Britain will recognize a state of Palestine before the United Nations General Assembly, quote, unless the Israeli government takes substantive steps to end the appalling situation in Gaza, reaches a ceasefire, makes clear there will be no annexation in the West Bank, and commits to a long-term peace process that delivers a two-state solution. Britain has supported the idea of an independent Palestinian state existing alongside Israel, but has said recognition should come as part of a negotiated two-state solution to the conflict. This also comes as Starmer met with President Trump there in the UK, both discussing the ongoing conflict in Gaza and both supporting more aid to those who are impacted by hunger there in Gaza. So we did want to share that breaking news with you as you are taking a live look right there at the border between Israel and Gaza.
All right, so let's let's break this down real quick. So as you guys know, right, to make this all make sense, this comes on the heels of President Macron of France basically saying that he is going to recognize a Palestinian state in September. And basically the Brits have taken a page out of France's book, and they're saying now they're going to recognize Palestine in September if Israel doesn't, come to terms with something that they want, making substantial change in the way they're approaching this conflict, right? Now, this kind of goes to show how much power Israel has and how, honestly, everyone is powerless to stop them, okay? Because when France declared that they were going to recognize a Palestinian state, a bunch of Israeli government officials took to Twitter to condemn France, right? They said things along the lines of, you're endangering the life of Israelis, you're supporting terrorism, you're rewarding terrorism by doing this, blah, 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 right? And the UK, obviously, we know that let's be honest here, the UK are pussies, right? And the UK also has a very large Muslim population. And the UK knows that they support Israel financially and diplomatically, but they also see that what Israel is doing is starting to become indefensible. Even people like Piers Morgan, who are hardcore Zionists, are starting to come out and say, yo, enough is enough. Like, what the fuck is going on here? Remember Piers Morgan? Literally, like, over the past 2 years, what has he been saying? Do you condemn Hamas? Do you condemn Hamas? Israel has a right to defend itself. Do you condemn Hamas? Literally, that was like his fucking go-to line, right? But now, you see, he's not asking that fucking dumbass question no more. And he's even come out himself, which I will give him credit for, saying he's changed his mind, saying that he can no longer defend the state of Israel. So why do I tell you guys this? I tell you guys this because the entire international community is starting to crack down on what the fuck Israel's doing, and they can't defend it anymore. When you got the President of the United States making conflicting statements to what the Israeli government is saying when it comes to starvation. When you got the president of France saying, you know what, we're going to recognize a Palestinian state, despite the fact that the Israelis try to claim that that's rewarding terrorism. And now you got the UK, who is a close ally of Israel. The United States and the UK are the closest allies to Israel, by the way, chat. Okay? The UK is pretty much in lockstep with us. Everything we do, they follow. This is why I don't blame British citizens when they actually are interested in American politics. Because the UK understands that if we go to war or if we do some type of military action or whatever, they're probably going to follow. I'll give you guys an example of this. Back in 2003 with the Iraq War, Tony Blair, the Prime Minister of Israel back then, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom back then, sent a considerable amount of soldiers to the Iraq War. A lot of them died, right? So, okay. So, hold on. I got some audio trolls in the chat. You niggas are getting banned. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Andrew Queen Air and, yeah, you guys, get the fuck out of here, bro. I told you guys before, if you troll on audio, you're getting banned. Get the fuck out of my chat. Stupid ass niggas, bro. Anyway, so back to what I was saying. So back in 2003, Tony Blair sent a bunch of, he sent a bunch of, soldiers over and they died. And it was actually very unpopular with the British people because it was a pointless war. So the point I'm trying to make is this. It's taking significant political pressure to get Israel to stop doing what they're doing. Okay? So the UK is basically run out of options. Don't think that Keir Starmer wants to recognize a Palestinian state for humanitarian purposes. No, that's not the reason why he's doing it. Okay? The reason why he's doing it is because he's tired of Israel conducting a genocide while the United Kingdom is an ally of them. Do you understand, guys? I'm gonna make this very fucking clear. He doesn't care about recognizing a Palestinian state. What he cares about is that Israel is conducting a genocide while the UK are allies with them. That's why he's doing this. That is why he's making this recognition of Palestine contingent upon Israel pulling back on their military campaign. Right? So that's why he's doing this. So basically he's dangling the carrot like, look, I know you guys don't want us to recognize a Palestinian state, but if you guys continue this campaign, we are. And just so you guys know, your boy Benjamin Netanyahu, who's been in power for the better part of the last 30 years, right? He has campaigned and worked and done everything in his power to sabotage the two-state solution. Okay? Done everything in his power. And instead of me just yapping about it, let me go ahead and give you guys proof. So here he is in the West Bank being filmed during a private conversation. Okay, I know a lot of you guys are probably listening in, so I'll read it for you guys. He's speaking in Hebrew. All right, so Netanyahu, what are the Oslo Accords? The Oslo Accords, which the Knesset signed, I asked before the elections, will you act according to them? And I answered yes, subject to mutuality and limiting the retreats. Now, real quick, for those of you that don't know, let me go ahead and pull this up real fast. I've done it before, but I know we got a lot of new viewers in here. So the Oslo Accords, guys, okay, in my opinion, were probably the closest we were ever going to get to a two-state solution. Okay, here you can see the famous photo of Bill Clinton bringing together Yasser Arafat, representing the PLO, and then Yitzhak Rabin, who was the prime minister of Israel back then. He ended up getting assassinated after this agreement, by the way, by a far-right member of the Likud party. Who runs the Likud party? Benjamin Netanyahu. So many speculate that Benjamin Netanyahu had Yitzhak Rabin assassinated because of these accords. And these were signed in 1993. But when Yitzhak Rabin died, pretty much got cooked. Okay, but do you intend to limit the retreats? I'll give such interpretations of the accords that will make it possible for me to stop this galloping to the 67 armistice lines. How did we do it? Narrator, the Oslo Accords stated at the time that Israel would gradually hand over territories to the Palestinians at 3 different pulses unless the territories in question had settlements or military sites. This is where Netanyahu found a loophole. Boom, there you go.
אוסלו קבע בשעתו כי ישראל תמסור בהדרגה שטחים לפלסטינים בשלוש פעימות שונות, אלא אם בשטחים האמורים יימצאו התנחלויות או אתרים צבאיים. כאן מזהה ביבי פרצה.
Netanyahu, no one said what defined military sites. Defined military sites, I said, were security zones. As far as I'm concerned, the Jordan Valley is a defined military site. Some retard in the chat said that this is an old clip. Yeah, stupid. I know it's an old fucking clip. The purpose of why I'm showing this clip is to demonstrate to you guys that he's been trying to sabotage the two-state solution for decades. That's why I'm showing this, retard. God damn. Yo, niggas in YouTube chat are retarded, bro. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? Holy fuck. Nigga says in the chat, this is an old clip. Ryan Tomasiak. Yeah, I know. It's an old clip. It adds fuel to the fire of what I'm trying to demonstrate to you here, that he's been trying to do this shit for decades. Retard. God damn, niggas are dumb. All right, Netanyahu says, how can you tell? How can you tell? But then the question came up of just who would define the defined military sites were.
אליי ולערפאת באותה לשון, שאומר שישראל בלבד היא זו שתגדיר מהם את מיקום האתרים הצבאיים האלה ואת גודלם.
I stopped the government meeting. I said, I'm not signing only when the letter came in the course of the meeting to me and to Arafat, only when did I sign the Hebron agreement, or rather ratify it. It had already been signed. Why does this matter? Because at that moment, I actually stopped the Oslo Accords. There you go, guys. You can hear it from the mouth, the horse's mouth, real time. He's taking credit for stopping the meeting and killing the Oslo Accords, which his prior guy, Yitzhak Rabin, had worked really hard to get. They met over months in Oslo to get these, to get this agreement across the finish line. Yitzhak Rabin and Yasser Arafat did.
עכשיו, הם לא רצו לתת את המכתב הזה, אז לא נתתי את הסכם כמוהו. הפסקתי את ישיבת הממשלה, אמרתי, אני לא חותם. רק כשהגיע המכתב, תוך כדי הישיבה, אליי ואל ערפאת, חתמתי על הסכם, והשררתי, היה חתום. למה זה חשוב? כי באותו הרגע עצרתי בעצם את הסכם.
ולמרות זאת, אדם משלנו, סליחה, שידע שזו תרמית ושאנחנו יכולים להתאבד עם הסכם אוסלו, נותן באמת לדוגמה את חברון. את זה אף פעם לא הבנו. את חברון
זה קורה. זה קורה, זה הדבר שקורה. אחד מהרבנים המפורסמים שאני מאוד מכבד אותו, רב של ארץ ישראל, אמר לי, מה היה אבא שלך אומר? הלכתי לאבא שלי. אתם יודעים קצת על העמדות של אבא שלי?
So there you guys go. You have it right there. So going back to what I was saying. So the UK knows that recognizing Palestine is like the kryptonite for Israel. Because as you guys can see here, me showing you proof, Benjamin Netanyahu has been sabotaging a two-state solution for decades. So the Brits know that one of the ways to really get under the Israeli skin is to recognize Palestine, especially with Netanyahu. His ego won't allow it. Shout out to Kinetic Edge with the gifted sub. But again, I want to make it very clear to all of you guys that are watching. Keir Starmer is not doing this because he's a humanitarian. He's doing this because he doesn't like the fact the United Kingdom is an ally to Israel as they conduct a genocide. So make no mistake about it. If Israel rolls back its military campaign, the United Kingdom will fold and not recognize Palestine. I think the French are probably going to go through with it all the way. I think Macron is going to go through all the way and recognize Palestine. Because the French have always kind of been anti-war, right? Ever since they took that L in World War II, they kind of learned that, like, we can't lose again. So I do give Macron credit for that. Bro can't stand up to his wife, but he could definitely stand up to the Israelis. So I'll give him credit there. Bro gets smacked by his wife, but he could definitely stand up to Netanyahu. So I'll give him credit there, man. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, chat. Also, guys, just so you know, website is up. OSSarmy.com. This is the website. Shout out to my guy Brett for making it. Okay? This is OSSarmy.com. This is where you can join locals, right? You click join the OSS Army. You can go ahead and click there and join the fucking movement, chat. All right? Join the movement. Because you guys know they're always trying to censor your boy, which is fucking annoying. But like I said before, we already got 5,000 plus of you guys in here as far as like total members. We want to get to 10,000 total members and then work towards 10,000 active members very soon. That is the goal. Because this is going to be critical for us fighting back against censorship. Because as you guys know, they're trying to cancel your boy all the time. Okay, so you guys were saying that the Nick Fuentes thing is going to be at 10 p.m. Eastern time. I'll try to react to it as much as I can, chat. But okay, what do you guys want? You guys want us to react to the Hunter Biden right now or John Mearsheimer? I'll let you guys pick. OSS guys, which one do you want? I'll go off the OSS chat. Let me know what you guys want. The Hunter Biden interview was interesting, though. All right, let's do a little bit of Biden. As you guys can see, I already watched some of it, but we'll skim through some of the other stuff.
Seems like they're doing pretty well.
I think they probably had a real comeback, but that's because
we'll cover Mearsheimer as well.
Delaware was a slave state that fought on the side of the.
Oh, quick word from our sponsor, by the way, too, before we really get into this. OSSarmy.com, guys. All right, guys, we're gonna be stepping it up with the OSS, but only for the guys that are the real active support. Oh, hold on. Let me do that again. Sorry, guys. All right, guys, we're going to be stepping it up with the OSS, but only for the guys that are the real active supporters. So this is how it's going to go. We're going to start giving away merch bundles once a month. All kinds of merch can be given away to you guys for supporting. Also, we're going to be doing call-in parts of the show where members of the OSS Army can go in and call into the show and give their takes on certain different types of topics, whatever we're talking about on that particular day. Also, we're going to start doing shows, guys, where we're going to do parts that are only OSS members so that we can actually say what we want to say, put the memes up on screen that we want to put up, and not have to worry about censorship. Unfortunately, even on regular platforms, we can still get clipped and put out of context and still be labeled for cancellation. All the uncensored stuff that we want to do, it's going to be on the OSS members portion only. Now, I know what you guys are wondering. Oh my God, Byron, no, I can't afford it. No problem. It's going to be only $1 to get in, guys, for the first month, and it goes to regular dues price. So get in there, join us, allow us to be able to continue the fight against censorship, because even on free speech platforms, they clip our shit and try to cancel us anyway. All right. So, hold on one sec, guys. Give me one sec. All right. Sorry, guys. Noble just dropped Frank off. Frank, you don't stink anymore, bro. You want to say what's up to everybody? Here, let me show you guys Frank real quick. Come here, buddy. Where you at? Come here. He's excited. All right. What's up? How are you? How are you? You don't stink, buddy. It's my dog, Frank, for all the new viewers out there. He's a year old. He's a 100% Border Collie. He's excited because he was at the groomers for 2 hours. They washed him and everything else like that. You know, got him looking nice and luscious. All right, buddy. Okay. All right. So anyway, and by the way, he knows how to O/. If you guys were in the Telegram group, I sent a couple of videos of how he can O/. OSS guys know what I'm talking about. So anyway, guys, when you go to the website, ossarmy.com, you just click it right here, join OSS Army. It's going to redirect you. Shout out to my guy, Brett, for making such an awesome website. And then you're going to click here monthly, okay? And you're going to use promo code OSS Army 110, apply, bam, get in for $1. Or if you want to do annual, I got a deal for you as well. JFK 9/11, apply, bam, brings it down to $50. So if you want to join for the year, $50 for the year covered. Or if you want to join for the first month, $1, then it goes to 10 after that, whichever one you guys want to do. But I'm keeping the entry price. I'm going to run this promo for a week for you guys so we can get as many people in OSS as possible, because I am going to start cutting streams, chat. I am going to start cutting streams more aggressively starting next week, more than likely. Because me going viral over the past week pretty much taught me that no matter where I stream, they're going to take my shit and put it out of context and try to get me banned. So we're just going to do shit on OSS. Plus, I don't got to fucking censor myself, which is annoying. To be honest with you. I like to use certain phrases that I can't use when I'm on YouTube. So yeah, if you want to do the year, guys, JFK 9/11, you guys want to do the month, click the month, boom. Oh, shit, hold on. It lets you go ahead and do all this, but you guys get the point. All right. OSS 110, if you guys want to go ahead and join for the month, or JFK 9/11 for the year. All right, let's get into this Hunter Biden thing. Oh, yeah, you also get discounts on, you get a Telegram group, you get discounts on the merch, and you get all the content, and you get to be in the OSS chat, where if you're in the OSS chat, you just literally donate $1, and you can get your chats read. Like, we did that whole Gilbert Arenas thing, just so you guys know. I had no idea what was going on with Gilbert Arenas. One of the OSS members donates $1 in. Hey, bro, did you hear that Gilbert Arenas got arrested? Bam. Now he just influenced the show. So as you guys can see, this is a dynamic stream, breaking news. We cover all different types of stuff. If it's crazy shit, I'll literally switch up and I'll go to cover the breaking news. And you're able to do that because I look at the OSS chat, right? So one of the best ways to interact with the thing. All right, let's get into Hunter Biden.
Of the Union. And the Mason-Dixon line, actually, Delaware is the only state that the Mason-Dixon line does not bisect. And that is because it starts at our
Place from the beginning.
You know,
and he hasn't sat down and done an interview for years, chat, Hunter Biden.
Been a while. Been a long while. I had a conversation with Jamie Harrison, who's the former chair of the DNC. He's a great friend.
I'm going to go and do this with a 1.25 speed, by the way.
And I was down in South Carolina for other things and kind of like family down there. So I sat down with him and talked about some stuff, but nothing like this.
What made you feel like now's the time for an official, unedited long form?
Well, I don't know when it is the right time or not the right time. I'm an admirer of your work, and we have a mutual acquaintance. It didn't take me much to agree to be really interested. I think the work that you've done is
I've never heard of this guy before. He comes off as like a troll reporter, but he got an interview like this, so I don't know.
One of the most interesting commentary on the moment we're living in, the expanded moment that we seem to be continuing to live in of the from 2020.
All right, real quick, because we got retards in YouTube chat. Someone said, I'm already paying for YouTube Premium. That's enough cash for you. And then someone else said, you better not cut YouTube. You guys must be new here. Are you guys aware of the fact that I've been demonetized for 2 years on YouTube? Do you understand that you paying for YouTube Premium does nothing for this channel? Are you fucking retarded? Holy shit, niggas are dumb in YouTube chat. What the fuck?
I hadn't seen much of the earlier work that you had done, but I do know that I at least appreciate the sincerity with which you approach everything that you do.
I appreciate it. You said 2020 on. Do you feel like that's the year the world kind of went crazy?
No. I think that that's the year that we all kind of woke up to the realization that things are crazy. But no, I think that they've been going crazy for a while. And I don't know whether crazy is the right word. I think that I don't know how interested people are in my take on why I think the world is a little bit crazy right now.
Well, I think there's probably millions of people out there who just want to know how you're doing.
Personally, great. I tell everybody, and Melissa gets kind of upset with me because it has been obviously a difficult time. You know, the past 5 years have not, at least from any outsider's perspective, been fun. But for me, as a person in recovery, and being able to maintain that recovery through this and stay clean and sober throughout it, the one thing I allow myself to take some pride in. And I know about my life is that I survived almost certain death. And I mean, I don't know if you read my book, but I'm pretty transparent about it. Having survived that hell kind of prepared me to be able to make it through kind of the public humiliation that, I don't know any other way to put it, that I've experienced over the past close to 5 years now. And it doesn't seem to stop, but I'm more grounded in who I am and what matters to me and what I'm grateful for on a daily basis than I've ever been in my life. And physically, I'm in a hell of a lot better shape than I was since my last drink or drug 6 years ago.
So it's been 6 years?
Yeah, just over 6 years.
When you say you almost died, can you kind of give us some more context?
I was a drinker, and at the end, my addiction had progressed so much that it was potentially deadly on a daily basis. The thing that was the most...
And I'm glad in this interview that Biden Hunter gives a lot of attention to alcohol. Guys, alcohol is the fucking worst gateway drug there is, bro. It really is.
Concerning. And
the crazy part is that we have an entire industry around it, and it's 100% legal.
The most real about, facing death was in actuality the alcohol. Once you fall into that lifestyle, and I wouldn't call it a lifestyle because there's no life to it at all, you enter a completely different world in which you're living kind of completely outside of the bounds of any communal norms. I don't know. It's a scary place to be. And I met some of the most truly heroic, astounding, thoughtful, kind people that I've ever met in my life that are living, lives of quiet desperation, not quiet, very loud desperation, but even in that found space in their hearts for empathy and kindness. And I've met some of the most awful, predatory people that I've ever experienced in my life.
So you feel that the thralls of addiction do oftentimes swallow up very genuine, earnest people, but at the same time, that underbelly is home to a specific breed of evil as well?
One of the things that I've realized is that addiction is one of the most universal conditions. I don't know many people that have not been impacted by it in some way, whether it's addiction to drugs or addiction to behaviors. They have the same dilatory effect on not just you, but more importantly, on...
Yeah, I mean, that's true. There's people that are addicted to porn, people that are addicted to fucking, all kinds of vices and bullshit, gambling, all that stuff. If you're going to be addicted to anything, make it to work out and eat healthy.
On your immediate community, your family, and then it just spirals outward. And I don't know anybody.
Alcohol literally gives zero benefit, bro. It literally gives you zero benefit. It destroys your progress in the gym, makes you feel like shit, terrible for your health. You make a bunch of bad decisions, you do dumb shit. It's literally the worst, man. I've never been a big drinker. I pretty much quit years ago. But yeah, bro, it's literally the worst.
That hasn't been impacted by drugs and alcohol in a really significant way, or at least a way in which it's created trauma in their own personal lives and the lives of those that they really love. And so while it's universal, it's something that we rarely talk about. And it's kind of the way in which we treat drug use it's something that someone else is doing, and that someone else happens to be your brother, your sister, your mom, your dad, yourself, your coworker. And it only becomes a problem when it becomes a problem for you.
Do you think that you would have been treated differently by the media if your addiction was to an opiate or perhaps methamphetamine as opposed to crack, which kind of has a racialized context to it?
Well,
yeah, they cooked him on the crack, chat. I ain't gonna lie. Like they were, he was a political punching bag for years by the Republicans.
Maybe, I don't know. Because it depends upon what media you're talking about. Because what is the media? I think it was just an added bonus for them that they could say crack addict and everybody would go, oh my God, he's a monster. So I think for those that wanted to use it as a bludgeon, it's easier when you slap the word crack addict onto it. It made me a lot easier target for the Don Juniors of the world, the Marjorie Taylor Greens of the world, just because of their inherent kind of meanness about things. But I'm not a victim here. I was a crack addict. I wrote about it. I was transparent about it. I wasn't naive to the idea that somehow that would be something that anyone or everyone would be able to fully comprehend and have empathy for. We're lacking empathy across the board, not just for Hunter Biden. But I guess I was a little bit surprised.
Yeah, the problem, the reason why is because, and this is kind of a cold hard reality, The only people that have empathy for drug addicts are people that have experienced the negative effects, whether it's they have a close family member that was an addict or they were an addict themselves. But to be honest with y'all, bro, everybody else has very little tolerance for druggies. And that's the cold hard truth. It's very difficult to find people that are going to be empathetic to addicts, especially drug addicts, unless they've either A, directly been an addict themselves, or B, have a loved one that experienced and fought with addiction for a long time. Other than that, no one gives a fuck. And then for Hunter Biden, right, not making excuses for him, but I'm being objective here, as the son of the president that grew up in a privileged background and, you know, with wealth and everything, they cooked him even harder on being a drug addict. Like, yo, Hunter Biden was like literally the Republican Party's piñata bag for like 5 years while his dad was in office. They would cook this nigga like every day.
In terms of a lot of people in the press, whether it was in the New York Times or the New York Post, kind of dismissed addiction as somehow unique to my family, or without taking into account what they were doing to other people that were looking to get clean and sober. One of the things about getting clean and sober, at least I found, I don't know what your experience in your life with your friends or others, is one of the things that keeps us in the cycle of addiction is our guilt and our shame, is the lies we tell ourselves and the lies that we tell the people that we care about the most. And
yeah, you know, this is the last time, I'm done, I'm never going to do it again. That is so true.
You get clean and you get sober, and what ends up...
And I know this because I've literally had informants that were drug addicts. So like I kind of dealt with drug addicts from a different perspective as a former agent, right? And dude, it is annoying having like a fucking informant that's like a drug addict. Oh God, bruh. Not good at all, man. So I've dealt with addicts from a different perspective, a unique perspective, but nonetheless dealing with the bullshit. So yes, he's 100% on the money here, where they just lie all the time to themselves and to everybody else.
What's up happening is you still hold on to these secrets. Like, I smoke crack. I was a crack smoker. They know that I did cocaine, or they know that I was drinking, but they don't know that I was also an inveterate drug user. And so you keep that secret, and that guilt kind of boils up. And the only place that you can talk about it is in rooms full of virtual strangers, which is really helpful. But it isn't it doesn't release you from that awful feeling that I'm about to be found out. And that anxiety. And so then you get triggered, and your brain tells you to do the only thing that it's learned how to do, is that you need to save yourself. And the fastest way to save yourself is a drink or a drug. So you get caught in this loop. And the favor that they did for me is I don't have any more secrets. Now, not everything that's been said about me is true, but there are the things that most people would be very embarrassed about, I've been very open about. I spent more time on my hands and knees picking through rugs, smoking anything that even remotely resembled crack cocaine. I probably smoked more Parmesan cheese than anyone, and so I don't get triggered.
Bruh, this thing, that's crazy, man. Bro said I smoked more Parmesan cheese than anybody on earth, man. Bruh. I told you guys this interview was going to be entertaining.
In the same way. But the thing that scares me is for people that...
I ain't gonna lie, bro's going to go down in the Hall of Fame for that one. Bro's going to go down in the Hall of Fame for that one, man.
Look at the way that I'm treated in the media, whatever the hell the media is.
Also, guys, do me a favor. We got almost 3,000 of you guys watching on YouTube right now. Smash that like button. Let's get to 2,500 likes. If you can't afford the OSS, no problem. I totally understand. The only thing I'm asking is that you guys just smash that like button if you can't afford it, if you're watching on YouTube. Let's at least get in the algo, because they're fucking definitely shadow banning me. A bunch of you guys have messaged me on the side saying you don't even get notified when I go live. So do me a solid, guys. Smash that like button. If you can't afford it, no problem.
And think, do I want to get honest? I mean, it seems to me, if you look at that as a test case, better to keep some things unsaid. And I think that's really dangerous for people, at least in my experience with recovery.
As far as the media goes, what do you think are the 3 craziest things you've heard about yourself in the press?
Oh my God, the list is forever and forever. They got stuck on for a while, even Fox News, that I funded the Wuhan lab. I said that to someone a long time ago on camera as in response to a question like you just asked. And he says, you got to be really careful. Somebody's going to be able to cut that and say, I did not fund the Wuhan lab.
I did.
Yeah, you did?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Me and George Soros. Supposedly, me and George Soros are have a lot in common. The one thing I'm positive we don't have in common is that I am very, very far from being a billionaire. But those conspiracies are kind of the craziest. You know, I just heard Jake Tapper is going on TV saying that, you know, I basically acted as the chief of staff.
I think Hunter was driving the decision making for the family in a way that he was almost like a chief of staff of the family.
Yeah, that's a fucking lie. Bruh, this nigga, they did lie on him a lot, guys. Bro, Hunter Biden was more concerned with smoking Parmesan cheese than being a fucking chief of staff, bro. One thing I will give Joe Biden credit for is that he definitely did distance himself from his son politically. So, yeah, bro, that's a lie. But you know how the CNN is.
Strike you as pretty bizarre.
I think I spent 12 days in the White House in the last 2 years of the administration.
Yeah, that's patently false. Look, I've been critical of Hunter Biden in the past, but for Jake Tapper to say that he was the equivalent to like a chief of staff, come on, bro. Are you serious? This nigga was too busy fucking prostitutes and doing crack. Get the fuck out of here. Come on, man.
I had a lot of other things going on. I think the one that was like you feel like you just got hit in the gut, you know, by an elephant, is when Rudy Giuliani and Bernie Kerik went to the Newcastle County.
And the thing that kind of, again, not to put him in a victim thing here, but like no one had sympathy for him because he grew up in a privileged house. I think he's a former lawyer, chat. I think let me look here. I'm almost certain Hunter Biden went to law school and everything. The guy's not a retard. Yeah, he's an attorney. Yeah. And businessman. He is the second son of former President Joe Biden, blah, 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 blah. This is weird, though. I think he married his dead brother's ex-wife, which is fucking weird, if I'm not mistaken, which is totally an L. And, of course, if you were wondering, yep, she is one of them every single time.
Courthouse here in Delaware and talked about.
Yeah, he did marry. Okay, you guys confirmed it. Yeah, he married his dead brother's ex-wife. That's fucking weird.
About me being involved in, I think, you know, child sex.
Bro made some of the worst decisions ever. But they did lie on him on some other shit. I can at least do that.
Crimes and stuff like that. And, I mean, literally with nothing. That one was the last and the only one that was kind of hard to wake up from. Is like, how do you ever take that out of somebody's head after they've heard it? You know, but I mean, truly, the list just goes on and on.
Did you try to like sue for defamation or damages or anything after that?
No, and I mean, I am in a defamation suit right now. I mean, one of the craziest ones is what Patrick Byrne said about me. And let me get this straight. He said that I was the key person in ensuring that the sanctioned Iranian oil money that was being held in South Korea was released at the behest of myself and somebody in Pakistan. And I took a 10% fee off the $8 billion for my family.
We have to give 10% to the big man. You're the big man, I think.
I'm just going to feed Frank real quick, guys. Give me 1 sec.
And then I had traveled to Tehran and to the Middle East in 2022 and 2023 in order to effectuate this. And then that ultimately his followers made the direct connection that money was used to fund Hamas for the murder of over 1,400 Jews on October 7th. That's the kind of stuff. And now I know you guys look and say like, but who believes that? You know, I don't know. The million people that read that tweet, you know. I had one guy in California who is a, I don't remember his name, but he's associated with SpaceX, a big investor in SpaceX, a very, very wealthy guy, claim just months ago that I rented a house from him and that I trashed the house and I had the Secret Service stiff him on the rent and that I tried to pay him with a book of art made of my own feces.
His ex-landlord claims he stiffed him on a whopping $300,000 in rent. What happens to the back rent that Hunter Biden owes my family? Is that pardoned now?
And, you know, like, how insane is that, right? You know, but you look into the background of this person, and he's a major investor in SpaceX. He's probably worth a few $100 million, and he has this huge following on X. Elon Musk retweeted that, and it went viral.
It's pretty messed up, man. There's also some people, though, who just think that if you leave the country, you're a spy. You know what I mean? Like, why is he going so many places?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know, the really interesting thing is they created this a character that is both, in some sense, a ne'er-do-well fail son that has not ever accomplished anything, and a criminal mastermind all in one. I kind of feel like, you know, pick one. Most of my travel during that period of time when my dad was vice president, and by the way, I didn't travel anywhere when my dad was president. I don't think I left the country. But during that time, I was the chairman of the board of what's called the U.S.-UN World Food Program. And I was also chairman of the board of the Truman National Security Project, chairman of the board of the Center for National Policy. I was a professor at Georgetown University, adjunct professor for over 4 years in the master's program of the School of Foreign Service. I taught a course on advocacy, largely based upon the implementation of a thing called PEPFAR, President's Emergency Plan for Aid Relief in Africa. And as the chairman of the board of the U.S.-UN World Food Program, it's kind of like what you know of, like as a kid growing up, like UNICEF. UN has voluntary aid organizations in which each nation state that is a part of the UN voluntarily contributes to the continued operations of UNICEF, UNHCR, UNESCO. All of these organizations are all voluntary aid organizations. The UN World Food Program is the largest voluntary aid program in the United Nations, and it is the largest humanitarian organization in the world. It serves over 80 million meals on a daily basis in 72 different countries, and it is the first on the ground because it controls all the airlift and communications for all of the relief efforts globally in any natural disaster or civil war or conflict. And so the UN, U.S. Is responsible for about 65% of the budget of the World Food Program, which was my responsibility as chairman of the board. And I increased the budget of the World Food Program, which just won the Nobel Peace Prize 2 or 3 years ago, by 50% when I was chairman over my term, to like $2.4 billion. It's all gone now. Trump ended all of that. But point about traveling. So I went to the Philippines after Typhoon Haiyan. I went to Kenya to Dadaab when refugees were flowing in from across southern Africa and Ethiopia. I've been to Syria, Lebanon, and Jordan, and I've been to all over the world. 75% of my travel during that period of time was on behalf of the World Food Program and other, NGOs that I work on behalf of.
So I want to back all the way up to the very, very beginning. A little short bio. We can do a long bio too. So you're born here in Delaware or born here in Pennsylvania?
In Delaware.
Okay, in Delaware.
Yeah, Wilmington.
Wilmington.
Yeah, 10 minutes from here, 15.
What are your thoughts on Wilmington, Delaware? Nice place?
Oh, yeah. One of the things that I still do love about the East Coast and Delaware and the Mid-Atlantic is the history. And so I'm a little bit of a history geek.
Yeah, because Delaware doesn't really get much representation because you got Philadelphia, powerhouse of history and culture. You got Rocky, a lot of other things going on there, too important stuff. And then
we agree on that. I'm basically living in a suburb of Philly. Yeah.
Well, I don't want to say that, but you got Baltimore, The Wire.
Yeah.
You got people on horses in the streets out there.
Yeah.
People on ATVs. And then Delaware's kind of sitting in between. People know that it's a corporate tax haven. People know that the Biden family's from there. What's something that people don't know about Delaware that they should?
Delaware's the first state. I don't know if they should know this, but it's the first state to ratify the Constitution. When Thomas Penn.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that, chat.
Basically colonized Pennsylvania. He carved out Delaware, and we called it.
Yeah, we should be having an after hours tonight, chat. I don't know what time though.
The suburb of Philly. Yeah.
Well, I don't want to say that, but you got Baltimore, The Wire.
Yeah.
You got people on horses in the streets out there.
Yeah.
People on ATVs. And then Delaware's kind of sitting in between. People know that it's a corporate tax haven. People know that the Biden family's from there. What's something that people don't know about Delaware that they should?
A lot of people also incorporate their businesses out of Delaware. Has really good LLC laws.
Should.
Delaware's the first state. I don't know if they should know this.
Okay, let's go into his early life and tragedy. Skip through some of this.
I was given the gift of having known and having two mothers that I consider my mom, both of them, my birth mother and my mom now. And I feel incredibly lucky for that. Instead of thinking of it as some tragedy, I feel incredibly lucky that I had my aunts and uncles that literally moved in with us. And I got the experience of having an extended family. My uncle is my best friend in the world, outside of my dad and my brother. And that, I don't know whether we would all be as close if it weren't for that. But you come from a big Irish Catholic family. This isn't like, oh, woe is me. Yeah. Everybody's gone through this.
It was definitely a cultural kind of instinct to not allow ourselves to be defined by traumatic events and to take responsibility for the way that, we've handled things that have happened.
Oh, yeah, I think so. And I think ultimately at the end of the day, we all have to take responsibility, regardless of the reason. The consequences aren't always fair, but I think the biggest question is whether you use it as an excuse or do you use it as a catalyst to be more empathetic with other people and also yourself.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah, it sounds like the kind of double-edged sword you're talking about. Or the flip side of the coin is that even in the wake of tragedy allowed for your extended family, like your uncles and stuff, to become closer because they recognized that you needed like an extra layer of support. And so do you feel like without that happening, there wouldn't have been as strong of a bond within the family?
I don't know. I do know this, is that my family is just incredibly close-knit, but I can't imagine that, obviously, yeah, I think your relationships are forged by the circumstances, and the more dire and consequential the circumstances, the stronger the bond. I don't know what your experience is, but I do know this, is that I feel very...
All All right, let's go into the crack addiction.
Doing his job, and he was in private practice at this time. And so, what does Alex Thompson think my brother would owe fucking anyone to say, oh no, I'm dying, I'm not going to run for governor? And why would he do that? Why would you give up on life? And it's almost like somehow that this human being is not a human being. Like, he has not experienced life. He has not had anyone in his life that is, and I find it really hard to believe in a day and age when I don't know anybody that hasn't had somebody in their family that has cancer. And so what do you say to them? Oh, you have cancer? Oh, so you're gonna go tell your boss that you're dying and you should quit now? No, you don't. You go do your chemo, you do your radiation, you get up in the morning and you eat better, and you go on a different diet plan, and you get experimental procedures done, and you fight and you fight and you fight. At least that's what my brother did. Anyway, my point being, it was...
All right, let's get into the laptop story.
The level of protection. You know,
an hour, I was telling her my whole unvarnished life history and the immediate problems that I was facing, which was crack addiction. She literally said, well, that ends now. And it did. I mean, not that minute, but over the next 2 weeks. And then I asked her to marry me, and she said yes. And I said, well, why wouldn't we do it right now? And so we literally called Justice of the Peace to the house. She came and she married us. For me, it was a miracle. For Melissa, the really hard part started then, in the sense of, like, getting clean and sober is not easy. It's even harder on the people that love you. And if they're that support system, it's a full-time job in that immediate period of time. Because, as I said to you before, the dangerous part is withdrawing from alcohol, and it can be kind of scary. And she went through all of that, and she went through the entire process with me. And she did things that I wouldn't allow anybody else to do. I saw in Melissa somebody that, without any history between us, looked at me with as much love as I looked at her. And I accepted that love in that moment. And a lot of it was tough love. Like, she took my car keys, she took my wallet, she took my clothes for a period of time, so I couldn't leave the house.
Wait, took your clothes?
No, I didn't have anything. It would have been impossible. We were living in the Hollywood Hills. There was nowhere to go. And if I could go anywhere, there's nothing to buy anything with. So
I can remember covering the 2020 election about a year later, and I think it was the first Stop the Steal rally at Reading Terminal Market in Philadelphia. And I saw what I thought was a BLM flag, Black Lives Matter, but it actually said Biden's laptop matters. And so
ah, man. Okay, guys, smash that like button on YouTube. Let's get to 2,000 likes. I'll segue over to the Tucker interview once I get 2,000 likes, niggas.
That's the guy. What the hell does that mean? And he just sort of kept yelling the slogan over and over again. Couldn't get much out of him. Yeah. So for those who don't know, what happened with that?
Well, I don't know. You tell me. And I really mean that sincerely. Like, you'll have a lot of people that will come up with something about the laptop. But I always say to anybody, you're steeped in and just through your work, the right-wing narrative around it. And my question to anybody that is keeping an open mind is, what is it that you think the laptop proves? Or what you call the laptop? So everybody has a laptop. So when they say Hunter Biden's laptop, what is it that they're talking about? Do you know?
Well, I know that your entire iCloud was connected to it, all of your personal text messages, private photos, all that kind of stuff.
Like everybody's laptop.
Yeah. Okay. And you left it with a repair shop owner who, for some reason, gave it to Rudy Giuliani. Not exactly sure.
Yeah, that's crazy that he did that.
Sure how that's legal. He distributed it to the press. Particularly, I think the New York Post was involved in the spearheading of this mass dissemination of your private materials. From what it seemed like, it was a lot of private text between you and your friends, family. Your entire sort of private life was on there.
Yeah. And again, so everybody has a laptop. Everybody has a cloud.
I'm assuming not.
No, not everybody has a laptop. Everybody has a digital life. Almost everybody has a digital life. Everybody has a digital life, pretty much. And that includes voicemails and pictures and text messages and emails and location data and, everything. Everybody, you do.
It's because he's the president's son. You know what I mean? Doing crack. That's why I was such outrage. But that's I ain't gonna lie. That is a gross invasion of privacy that this fucking guy, laptop guy, did.
Everybody that is here right now, by whatever means, they got my digital footprint going back decades, over 20 years. Again, I ask anybody, you're steeped in this, and this isn't a challenging question, but it kind of makes my point. What does my laptop prove?
That you do crack and you fuck hookers.
About criminality or anything other than.
Well, you're doing drugs and you're fucking hookers, which are two different crimes.
And which I had already readily admitted to, completely transparent about, is my drug addiction.
Well, I'm trying to remember specifically what the most radical conspiracies that I heard. I think that a lot of people are concerned or curious about various international business dealings.
So,
all right, he's going to talk about Burisma now. Let's see what he says.
I served on the board of well over a dozen different entities, way more than that, including major global organizations. was the vice chairman of the board of the National Passenger Rail Corporation, which is otherwise known as Amtrak. It's the largest passenger rail company in the world, which is more than just a rail company. It's also a real estate company. It's also a commercial real estate company, it's a residential real estate company, and it is probably the largest owners of property in urban metro centers of any organization in the country, and a huge employer and a multi-billion-dollar business. And I was the chairman of the corporate governance committee on that board and vice chairman and elected chairman and then resigned before the Obama administration took. So I told you before, I was the chairman of the board of the UN World Food Program, responsible.
Yeah, I mean, with all this power, this is why so many people have such little empathy for him. Bro had it all and fucked it up with drugs.
For sustaining a budget above $2 billion a year for the World Food Program and the contribution the United States makes to the global relief effort as it relates to hunger. I was chairman of the board of the Center for National Policy. I was on the board of Catholic Charities. I was on the board of Jesuit Volunteer Corps Northwest. I was on the board.
Bro was on every board, man.
I mean, I keep going down the list of board memberships that I had. And a year and a half before my dad was to leave office, I was approached by a Ukrainian natural gas company through one of their board members to consider being of assistance to a company that was being threatened by the Russian aggression and the invasion of Crimea and the incursions into Donetsk and the Donbass. And I took them on as a client because I was a partner of counsel, at Boyce Schiller Flexner, which was a major national global law firm, in which I focused on corporate governance and commercial law. And I represented them for about a 3-month period of time. And through
he is a lawyer.
That representation, they asked if I would join the board, which I did. The day that I joined the board, I announced it and sent out a press release of the reasons why that I was joining the board, which came and went and did not become an issue until Rudy Giuliani, along with a guy named Andrei Derkach and a number of others that have all been convicted of treason for being Russian agents, came up with a conspiracy that Joe Biden was involved in a bribery scheme.
The FBI arrested the person who offered those allegations for falsifying his testimony to the FBI.
For over a 10-year period of time, I worked with a group of people that had a cross-border private equity firm inside of China, and I had a business that was based around advisory for multinational global funds, private equity funds, doing infrastructure work and others. And I was asked to join a fund, the startup inside of China that was had a headquarters in Beijing, Shanghai, Hong Kong, and New York. And I had a 10% equity stake in that, of which I paid, I made my equity contribution in that, just like every other member of that.
Federal officials are looking at his foreign business dealings, including his ties to a Chinese energy company.
Those are my two foreign business dealings.
Yeah, because I was kind of looking into it, and it seems like the conspiracy is that through those connections that you had to these, I guess, foreign governments, they were using you to leverage pressure onto your dad
Again,
somehow.
like what?
Well, that's the thing, is that when you're looking
I'm not putting you on the spot. And I guess my whole point is that I asked these same questions to the House Oversight Committee. I've been investigated by the House Oversight Committee, the House Ways and Means Committee, the House Judiciary Committee, the Senate Judiciary Committee, the Senate Oversight Committee, and I have been investigated by Maine Justice, the U.S. Attorney in Pittsburgh, the U.S. Attorney in Philadelphia, the U.S. Attorney in District of Columbia, the U.S. Attorney in Los Angeles, the U.S. Attorney of Delaware, the Special Counsel's
God damn.
Office. Not one single person has ever accused me of a crime based upon anything that was in or discovered as it relates to my laptop. Not one. Not a single thing about my laptop. So this whole idea that there was some conspiracy to cover up the laptop, they uncovered 20 years unvarnished of every single communication that I've ever had over a phone or by text or over email or computer in any digital way. There's not one communication that you can even remotely say is evidence of a crime. Not one. Not one time. Not one communication. I would challenge any.
Well, you can make the argument that you using drugs and facilitating using the drugs, you'd have to contact drug dealers to procure the drugs. You got videos of yourself banging hookers in there. That's a crime. Now, with that said, right, you can make the argument it's a victimless crime, right, and that they're not going to go ahead and waste their time and prosecute him on that. But he did definitely commit crimes.
Anybody to show one instance, other than me seeking drugs for myself, for my own personal use, okay, or women as it relates to, people that were in the drug trade that I would seek for the purchase of drugs. One single instance in which anyone has used any one of those communications as evidence of any kind of crime at all. Now, take that, okay, that's it. So you say Hunter Biden's laptop. What? By the way, I'm talking out there to people that I would assume are, or want to be on my side, or at least want to be on the side that I'm part of. What about Hunter Biden's laptop? How about this? Well, it was a cover-up. Twitter took it down, and it was a big cover-up. You know, and you have Matt Taibbi and all these guys who say, yeah, it was that Twitter took it down and Facebook took it down.
It seems that big tech only censors, media companies only censors stories when they're negative towards the Biden campaign.
You know why they took it down? Because what they did was they published naked photos of me and women, which is in violation of their terms, and which, by the way, is a criminal act under the new federal law that was passed by accredited to Melania Trump, with universal support in the House and the Senate. That's why they took it down. It wasn't a cover-up. And then you had 100 former national security officials come out and say, this looks like it could be a Russian op. Because it is. Because in the course of an election, what happens? You have Rudy Giuliani in conjunction with Steve Bannon.
As you guys can see, politics is a dirty game.
In conjunction with Miles Gao, who's in jail, who is, I don't know how many other counts of fraud and bribery, and is a Chinese national.
American politics, you guys can see here, is fucking ruthless. And I'll be honest with y'all, it wasn't this bad before Trump came in. Now it's like full-on lawfare and shit like this. This stuff, prior, trying to get former presidents arrested, putting out this information, it was unheard of, man. Once Trump came in, it was, we got to get this guy out of here. And then he retaliated and it goes back and forth.
Was working directly with Steve Bannon and a number of others, including Bernie Kerik, who...
Like, if you guys look at, like, for example, Obama versus Mitt Romney, very respectful debate, very respectful campaign. They didn't smear each other that bad. Obviously, they smeared each other to a degree, but not like this shit, right? Trump brought in what I call the blood sports of politics.
God rest his soul, is dead. That basically came out and, said, we have Hunter Biden's laptop. And the big reveal about Hunter Biden's laptop was that I was a crack addict. But, unfortunately for them, I'd already admitted that I was a crack addict in the pages of the New Yorker. It did a, 13,000-word article with Adam Entos, in which I told everything about myself and my own struggles. And they just simply conflated the two. They said, well, Joe Biden fired the prosecutor in Ukraine to benefit his son. Completely debunked. The person that said that I took a bribe for that happens to be a guy named Shokin, who is in prison for lying to the FBI on a form FT 1023. In prison. Admitted to it. Admitted that he was enticed into making it up on behalf of the Trump team side. The only other guy that came up and said that there was illegal and wrongdoing and bribery was a guy named Gal Luft, who was later convicted an absentia, both by the EU and as a arrest warrant out for him by Interpol and the United States as an arms dealer, selling Chinese weapons to the Iranians and to the Libyans. And so, again, I ask, so Hunter Biden's laptop, so what? So what?
It sounds like it was just became political cannon fodder to,
All right, let's go into Israel-Palestine.
Of making people's lives better, not enriching himself, not doing it for his friends and donors, is to, actually impact the lives of people in a way that, as you always talk about, the people that he grew up with, the neighborhoods where he came from. Just make it a little bit easier to make it through the day, understanding that people sit around their kitchen table, if people sit around their kitchen tables and have time to do it anymore with their formula. That's what people are fucking worried.
You know that there are some adults who identify as babies. I'm about to show you a preview of our upcoming after.
Oh, no, we can start a conspiracy.
Oh, the baby, eating the babies, animals. Should be limited or increased.
Okay.
Fixation.
Oh my God, is she gonna actually make me go through this conversation about that old baby type of fucking thing?
Okay. Do you see our involvement in the Middle East as something that should be limited or increased?
Oh, I definitely think it should be limited. It's really interesting is that, I am a firm believer in the right of the state of Israel to exist, but I'm also a firm believer in the right of the state of Palestine to exist. Yeah. And so I sit here and I believe in a two-state solution. And I believe that in any of these conflicts, you should have been able to find that was the only obvious and potentially realistic path forward. Because
yeah, it's the only way that you're going to have peace. If there's no two-state solution, you'll never have peace in the Middle East, bro.
On either side, you're not going to sit and allow for or condone a genocide or mass upheaval of an entire population. Somehow, the Israelis and the Palestinians have to find a way.
Hey, guys in the Rumble chat, somebody said that people are getting banned in there. Yo, mods on Rumble, let them say what they want to say, bro. It's fine. All right? Let them say what they want to say. Obviously, if they're spamming, that's different, or they're calling for, violence, then yeah. But, guys, Rumble mods, let them do whatever.
Way to coexist, correct? And I do know this, is that if you don't start there, then you end up where he is, the current president, which is that the Palestinian population of the West Bank and Gaza have to be completely removed from the region.
Right.
So then...
Mo's here. He said DM him on, what is it? On Instagram? Oh, okay, on Instagram. Yeah, DM on Instagram or Twitter, and he'll unban you if you feel as though you got unjustly banned on Rumble. But I'm not banning anybody on Rumble, bro. If they're banning you, you're probably inciting violence or spamming, one of those two. That's typically the only reason they ban you on Rumble, because we let you guys have free speech on there. Obviously, the other platforms I have to be a bit more stringent on the freedom of speech, but Rumble, you guys can go ahead and say whatever you guys want. But YouTube, obviously, I have to police that shit because YouTube is fucking lame, which is another reason why, I'm going to start limiting my streams on YouTube as well. But anyway, Mo, message Mo on Instagram or Twitter. He just came in to tell me. Do we know what we're going to do here with the after hours, Mo, or no? Yeah, no. Okay. All right. Well, I'm waiting on Chris. So, chat, I'll let you guys know when we do after hours. So, yeah. All right. Go back to it.
And the idea of a mass deportation of millions of people is the most unreasonable and unrealistic, impossible thing to even conceive of. But even if you could, where? And there's not one of the regional partners could possibly handle that. Not the Egyptians.
Yeah, they talked about Libya, Egypt, Jordan potentially. They don't want that shit.
Not the Jordanians, not the Syrians, not the Lebanese, not the Saudis. There's nobody that would take that population.
Do you think that's because they're concerned with their trade relationships being threatened, or they just don't want their country to become a hotbed for Israeli bombardment?
Oh, I think that they don't want it to become a hotbed for poverty unrest. I think that they look at the lesson of Lebanon, in which the Palestinian refugees settled in Beirut, and Beirut has never been the same, and Lebanon has never been the same. It's completely collapsed. It collapsed, by the way, because of pressure from the Israelis, because of pressure from regional partners, because of pressure from internally, because of the political pressure, because of the Shia-Sunni split. And then you have this situation in which nobody wants the Palestinians, but everybody wants to protect the Palestinians, but nobody wants to take the Palestinians.
And they don't want to move.
Well, here's the thing. Why should they, though? You know, this whole concept of, oh, no one wants to take the Palestinians in. Bro, nobody wants to take anybody in. That doesn't mean that inherently that Palestinians are bad people. Because, like, that's like the equivalent, like, let's say you got a neighbor, right? And you really like your neighbor. But your neighbor got into a fight with some robber, and the robber kicked him out. Well, you don't want your neighbor, even though you love them, to stay at your house forever. They can maybe visit. But you're going to do everything in your power to make sure that you can get that occupier out so they get back in their house. Same exact thing with the Palestinians. Because this is a very famous Zionist talking point where they say stupid shit like, oh, well, nobody wants the Palestinians. Nobody wants them. None of the Arab world wants to take them in. Nigga, nobody wants to take anybody in. That's not even a point. You can love your neighbor as much as possible, but you ain't going to want your neighbor to move in to your house. Like, what the fuck? You already got your own problems you got to deal with. You would rather help your neighbor with getting their land back or getting their house back or getting some kind of split with their house. So this whole like Zionist talking point of like no one wants to take the Palestinians in because they're problematic people, that's fucking retarded. Like ridiculous, man. And the fact that like these dumbass Zionists still use it, I've got like all their talking points memorized now at this point. I literally have like all their talking points memorized and I can debunk all of them. All they do is fucking lie or make disingenuous arguments. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. Nobody would want to take anybody in. Like, for example, let's say the Palestinians kick the Israelis out. Do you think we would give them a state in America? No, we don't want them here either. Get the fuck out of here, nigga. Nobody wants to take a foreign people in. Nobody does. Holy shit, man. It's amazing to me how they still use this as a talking point as if it's like valid. It's retarded. Top G, hey Mar, what's up with that nigga Vivid on X? He seems to have joined the effort to cancel you online. Keep up the good work. We're here to support you. You guys want to know why? I'll tell you why. This dumb fuck. This is actually one of the propagandists on Twitter. I roasted that nigga earlier today. Absolutely air fried him. I'll show y'all. Look at this. Myron Gaines is teaching youth in America to love Hitler. Why does he still have a platform, right? And I commented under. You call for the death of innocent Palestinians every single day while showing images of Gaza flattened. Shut the fuck up. 11K likes. Nigga got 531K likes, and we ratioed the fuck out of him, bro. Holy. Welcome, punch! Bro, he got 531 likes on his shit, and I got 11K on mine. Absolutely fucking cooked. Welcome, punch! I don't think I've ever ratioed anyone that bad. Ever. That's why he's mad. And this is a fucking propagandist. This guy doesn't even show his real face because he's that much of a bitch. This dude constantly, every day, post pictures of like Israel bombing the fuck out of Gaza. This dude is like straight Israeli propagandist. I just roast him. I ratio him like every day. This dumbass nigga, bro. Huge fucking cuck. Like, for example, he goes, never forget how Palestinian terrorists carried and celebrated with music the coffins of Kafir, Ariel, and Shiri Bebis in a sick ceremony while the crowd cheered. Okay. Let me give you guys an example of what these idiots do, right? So they're showing this thing where the Hamas fighters are turning over the body of the Bebis, right? This was during the ceasefire back in, like, I think January, if I'm not mistaken. And just so you guys know, a bunch of them turned out in force. So in other words, Israel's not killing Hamas fast enough as much as they're growing. With every airstrike they do and the more people they kill, more people are becoming radicalized and joining Hamas. Now, I want to, look, let's be objective here. You got these guys. They're carrying the body in a coffin and handing the body over to the UN, right? And they're handing it over to the Red Cross or whatever as an intermediary. I don't know about you guys, but the fact that they got a coffin, put their pictures on it, showed respect and carried the coffin to the aid worker. I mean, do you guys see how the Israelis deal with Palestinians that get killed? They don't give them a fucking coffin. They don't give them a proper burial. They desecrate the body all the time. So look, I think it's important to have context here. When the Israelis hand over dead Palestinians, they don't give them dignity whatsoever. Also, just so you guys know, because it's also been a propaganda lie, the Bebis family, they say that the Hamas killed them. That's a lie. That's an outright fucking lie. What killed the Bebis were Israeli airstrikes. Okay? That's what killed the Bebis. Israeli airstrikes and starvation is what's killed a lot of the hostages. Again, let's just use common sense. I debated a dumbass fucking Zionist on this like 2 weeks ago when they try to say that Hamas over here killing the hostages. Let's just use common sense. Hamas is an inferior military to the IDF in every way. Okay? The IDF has better technology, better trained soldiers, better weapons, an air force, etc. Okay? So not only are they a superior military force, they also occupy Gaza. They control all the food that comes in, all the water that comes in, the electricity, everything. Okay? So they have an environment advantage, they have a training advantage, and they have a military edge and weaponry, right? The only power that Hamas has is the hostages. Okay? That is the only power they have. So why would they go through the process of killing their most important commodity and negotiating tool? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. If they wanted the hostages dead, as Israel claims, why didn't they just kill them on October 7th? Why go through the hassle of bringing them back to Israel, to Gaza, feeding them, clothing them, housing them, while there's a mass starvation going on, by the way? Why go through all that trouble if they just wanted to kill them? Doesn't make sense. The math ain't mathin'. And this is what Western media is not going to tell you guys. This isn't me being a Hamas supporter. This isn't me being an Israeli supporter. This is me just being objective and using a little bit of common sense. If you're going to risk life and limb to conduct that operation on October 7th and kidnap hostages, which was their primary goal, why would you kill your hostages, your only negotiating chip? But idiots like Vivid over here on Twitter will sit there and try to rage bait and say, never forget how Palestinian terrorists carried and celebrated with music the coffins of Kifri, Ariel, and Shir's Baba's 6th ceremony while the crowd cheered. Keir Starmer was these barbarians have a state. Notice how he doesn't acknowledge that it was actually Israel that killed them. They tried to lie and say Hamas strangled them. That's not true. They died via Israeli airstrikes and starvation. That's how they died. And again, them making a coffin, putting their pictures on it, etc., that's a lot more respect than the Israelis give to the dead Palestinians that they hand over. Way more. Israelis put them in blue paper bags. Hamas gives them coffins. I think both entities are terrorist organizations, by the way. I've given you guys my position on this a million times. I've told you guys that Hamas is a terrorist organization, and so is the IDF. The only difference is that the IDF is better funded, better trained, and armed by the United States. But they're a terrorist organization, too, if you want to go ahead and get into the technical definition of terrorism. The IDF is a terrorist organization, too. And I've talked about the dark history of Israel before. But the IDF was formulated through 3 predecessor agencies: the Irgun, the Haganah, and the Stern Gang. These 3 Zionist paramilitary organizations were responsible for the death and destruction of Palestinians to create the State of Israel on May 15, 1948. When the State of Israel was created, the IDF was formulated by merging these different Zionist paramilitary organizations. And not only did they rebrand, they call themselves the Israeli Defense Force. It's very important, guys. So it went from Irgun, Haganah, and Stern Gang, who terrorized and killed Palestinians for years, and when they became a real state, they changed their name to the Israeli Defense Force. What they really are is the Israeli Attack Force. But they put the D in there, pause, for defense to create the implication that they're simply defending themselves. But the reality is that they don't defend themselves. They proactively attack their enemies first. As a matter of fact, it's one of their foreign policies and one of their quotes. Literally, rise up and kill them first. It's one of their quotes, chat. Israeli government, rise up and kill them first. So they'll sit there and lie and say, we're just defending ourselves. It's the Israeli Defense Force. But the reality is they should call themselves the Israeli Attack Force, because that's what they do. They start the fucking conflicts. Okay, so real quick, I'm about to burn shit on this guy in the chat. Hey, Voca LG, you're saying here, Myron State defending Hamas and Iran. What did I say that was incorrect? Everything I just said is the truth. I'm going to put your dumb ass on blast so I can show how retarded some of you niggas are. Voca in the YouTube chat, tell me what I lied about. I'll wait. Now you're on the fucking spot, nigga. We're about to make you famous. Tell me what I said that was a lie. I'm waiting. I'm going to hold your fucking feet to the fire. Let's go, nigga. What did I say that was a lie? Oh, now he wants to deflect. Look, he says, what about the pros we have here in America? No, motherfucker. You made the fucking ridiculous claim saying I'm over here defending Hamas and Iran. I'm just telling the truth. Tell me where I was wrong. Tell me where I was wrong, bro. Now you're on the spot, nigga. We're going to make you famous. Tell me where I was wrong. Just like I expected.
Fatality.
Okay. See, bro, shit's a joke. Everything I told you guys is true. You guys can literally go ahead and independently corroborate everything I told you. Look up Irgun, Haganah, and Stern Gang. Those were the predecessors of the IDF. Look at the different massacres that led to the creation of Israel in 1948 and the terrorist attacks like the King David bombing, hotel bombing, all that shit. Nigga has the nerve to say some stupid shit like, oh, Myron State defending Hamas and Iran. Oh, so telling the truth is defending them? Telling the truth is defending them?
Welcome, punch!
Fucking retard. Anyway, so yeah, Vivid, I cook him every day, bro. This nigga's retarded. Let's get back to the Hunter Biden interview.
It's their home. Yeah. So what do you do? And the same as this. If you're an Israeli and just a citizen, not a part of this government, not a supporter of Netanyahu, you are somebody that is sitting there and you watch what they did on October 7th and you go, how the fuck can I possibly live this way? How can anybody live this way? How can you live this way without eradicating the threat? And that's humanity. I know that there's no way about talking about this without really offending so many people.
Yeah, it's what I call a can't win topic.
There is no win in the topic, other than to say this: there's only one way forward, and the only way forward is a two-state solution and a diplomatic solution.
No, translation. There's a very clear person that's in the wrong. It's just that it's not politically correct to call out these people because they run America. The rest of the world knows who the problem is. Okay? The rest of the world knows who the problem is. It's just that we're cucked in the United States.
Solution. Bombing the shit out of whatever remains of Hamas in Gaza and turning it into a golf course, like Donald Trump said, is not going to work, no matter what, unless you literally kill every single person that inhabits Gaza right now. You would have a generation upon generation that would justifiably haunt.
And here's the other thing too, right? Guys, I teach you guys how to debate on this stream a little bit. There's a reason why I call them out like that, right? As you guys know, every time I make points that show ugly realities about Israeli foreign policy, one of the number one thing that Zionists come back to me and say, I'm a Hamas supporter. I'm a terrorist sympathizer. That's because whenever they say that, I already know I won because they can't refute what I said. So instead of refuting my point that I made, they'll say some dumb shit like, oh, you're a Hamas sympathizer. You're a Hamas supporter. That's how they respond to the truth. It's a classic Zionist deflection tactic when you debate them. They cannot address the fact that they've killed 60,000 people, 70% being kids and children, or kids and women. They cannot defend the fact that they've been systematically bombing a closely cluttered population of 2 million people. They cannot justify how they're literally trying to ethnically cleanse them, and the news just came out within the last 24 hours that they are going to annex Gaza. They can't defend their points. So the only thing they have left is to say, you're a Hamas supporter. That's their go-to fucking argument every time. Macron, yeah, we want to recognize a Palestinian state. Oh, you guys are supporters of terrorism. They can't handle the facts. And the facts is they are wrong. They are 1,000% wrong. What they've done in this conflict is indefensible. October 7th does not justify their asymmetric warfare that they've been conducting over the past 2 fucking years. At all. We're talking about 600 Israelis at most, that were killed by Hamas. 600. And I've talked to you guys before about how I arrived at that number. All factually based, by the way. I don't want to bore you with repeating myself. But 600. 600. At absolute worst case, 600 were killed by Hamas. So does that justify between 60 all the way up until 400,000? Different sources say somewhere between 60,000 to 400,000 have been killed in Gaza. 600 leads to 400,000 or 60,000 on the lowest end. 10x. 10x.
Israel.
And haunt the United States.
And haunt the United States. And haunt any of the Western allies.
9/11 every weekend.
Yeah, and why people can't understand that. Same goes for Iran. The Iranian people, the Persian population, that is not a part, which is the vast majority, adherence to the Ayatollah or a supporter of the dictatorial government that rules Iran right now. They don't support their government. But I'll tell you what they also don't support. They don't support being bombed to the fucking Stone Ages by the United States and Israel to rid them of the leadership that they have not risen up to rid themselves of. It seems to me that's up to them. And Bibi Netanyahu has been promising us that Iran was on the verge of a nuclear weapon for, 22 years now?
Even Hunter knows this bullshit.
Other than that, I think he first wrote it in a book that they were months.
Guys, smash that like button. We're almost at 3,000 live viewers, bro. How the fuck do we only got 1,600 likes on YouTube, bro? What the fuck, man?